Elon Musk walked through the empty halls of Twitter headquarters late one night. The building was quiet. Most workers had gone home. He was checking the offices, making sure everything was running smoothly. Then he heard it, the sound of a mop sliding across the floor. Splash, swish, splash, swish. Elon turned the corner. A woman in a cleaning uniform bent over a bucket. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She wore blue rubber gloves. She scrubbed the floor like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Something about her looked familiar. "Excuse me," Elon said. The woman looked up. Their eyes met. Elon's heart stopped. He knew that face, those brown eyes, that smile he'd fallen in love with 25 years ago in high school. "Sarah?" he whispered. The woman's face went pale. The mop clattered to the floor. "Elon," she breathed. This was Sarah Mitchell, the girl Elon had loved more than anything when they were 17. The girl who'd believed in him when he was just a strange kid with crazy dreams about Mars and electric cars. The girl who disappeared from his life without explanation right before graduation. And now here she was, 25 years later, not running a company or living a fancy life, but cleaning floors in his building at midnight. "What are you doing here?" Elon asked, his voice shaking. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "It's a long story." "I have time," Elon said. What Sarah told him next changed everything. A secret she'd kept for 25 years. A choice she'd made that broke her heart. A sacrifice so big it had cost her everything. And what Elon did when he learned the truth? No one saw it coming. Not his employees. Not the media. Not even Sarah herself. But before we get to that moment, the moment that shocked everyone, we need to go back. Back to where it all started. Back to a small apartment in Oakland, where a 12-year-old girl was about to change the world. Because this story, it's not really about Elon and Sarah. Not yet. This story starts with Zara Chen, a girl with worn sneakers and a crumpled letter. A girl who loves space more than anything. A girl who was about to walk into SpaceX headquarters and discover something that would save 4 lives. Watch the whole video to find out what happens, because I promise you, you won't believe where this story goes. Now let's start at the beginning. Zara Chen's worn sneakers squeaked against the polished white floor of the SpaceX headquarters lobby. Each squeak made her wince. She pressed her backpack closer to her chest, feeling the crumpled envelope inside, the one containing the letter she'd written to Elon Musk 6 months ago on notebook paper because her printer had broken. A letter she never thought anyone would actually read. The lobby was enormous. Giant rockets hung from the ceiling like sleeping giants. Screens everywhere showed videos of launches, of fire and thunder, of spacecraft touching the stars. Zara had watched these videos 1,000 times on the library computers back home in Oakland. But seeing them here, in this building where they actually made those dreams real, made her throat tight. "Are you okay, honey?" A security guard with kind eyes looked down at her. "You look a little pale." "I'm fine," Zara whispered, though she definitely wasn't. Her stomach felt like it was doing backflips. "I have an appointment with Mr. Musk's team." The guard checked his tablet. "Zara Chen? Says here you're expected in conference room 7. That's pretty special." He smiled. Not many 12-year-olds get called to SpaceX. 12 years old. Right now, Zara felt more like she was 5. 2 weeks ago, she'd been sitting at her usual spot in the Oakland Public Library, the corner table by the window where the Wi-Fi signal was strongest. Her grandmother, Nana May, couldn't afford internet at their apartment. The money just wasn't there. Not after Nana's diabetes medication and the rent and everything else. So every day after school, Zara walked the 8 blocks to the library. Most kids her age were on their phones, texting friends or watching videos. Zara spent her afternoons teaching herself rocket science. It had started 3 years ago when her teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, showed the class a video of a SpaceX launch. The Falcon Heavy, with its 3 boosters coming back to Earth, landing perfectly in sync. Most kids thought it was cool for about 5 minutes. Zara couldn't stop thinking about it for 5 months. How did they calculate the landing trajectory? How did the fuel systems work? What kept the rockets from burning up in the atmosphere? She needed to know everything. The library became her classroom. She checked out college textbooks on aerospace engineering. Even though half the words were too hard at first, she watched free online lectures from MIT and Stanford professors. She filled notebook after notebook with equations, diagrams, calculations. When she didn't understand something, she'd read it 10 times, 20 times, until it clicked. Nana May would find her at midnight sometimes, still working at their tiny kitchen table by lamplight. "Miha, you need sleep," Nana would say gently. "Just one more problem," Zara would answer. "I'm almost there." Nana never told her to stop. Nana understood that some people are born hungry, not for food, but for knowledge, for understanding, for reaching towards something bigger than themselves. 2 weeks and 3 days ago, everything changed. Zara had been working on a school project about SpaceX's new Starship design. The public documents were available online. Technical specifications, design schematics, test flight data. She was supposed to write a 5-paragraph essay. Instead, she spent 3 weeks analyzing the fuel distribution system. That's when she saw it. At first, she thought she'd made a mistake in her calculations. She checked them again. And again. 17 times total, staying at the library until the librarian, Mr. Chen, no relation, had to kick her out at closing. The numbers didn't lie. Under specific conditions, a re-entry angle of 17.3 degrees combined with outside temperatures below -40 degrees Fahrenheit, the titanium fuel lines in the Starship design would contract. Just a tiny bit, microscopic really, but enough to create stress fractures. And when fuel flowed through those lines at high pressure during re-entry, those tiny cracks would spread. Fast. 90 to 95 seconds, Zara calculated. That's how long it would take for the fuel lines to rupture completely. She showed her calculations to Mrs. Rodriguez. "Zara, this is, well, it's very advanced work," her teacher said carefully. "But honey, SpaceX has hundreds of engineers with PhDs. Don't you think they would have caught something like this?" "But what if they didn't?" Zara pressed. "What if—" "I think you should focus on your essay," Mrs. Rodriguez said, not unkindly. 5 paragraphs, remember? Due Friday. Zara showed her work to Marcus, the smartest kid in 8th grade, who was always bragging about how he wanted to be an engineer. Marcus laughed. "You really think you found something NASA-level engineers missed? That's hilarious. What are you, some kind of super genius?" The way he said it made it clear he thought she was anything but. That night, Zara sat at the kitchen table while Nana May made rice and beans. The 3rd night in a row they'd eaten rice and beans because it was the end of the month and money was tight. "Nana," Zara said quietly, "if you know something important, something that could help people, but nobody believes you, what do?" Nana May stirred the pot slowly, thinking. "You know what my mama used to tell me? She said, 'The truth is like the sun. Even when clouds cover it, it's still there, still shining. Your job isn't to make people see the sun. Your job is to be brave enough to point at it.' What if I point and everyone just thinks I'm stupid?" Nana May turned around. Her face was serious. "Miha, stupid is when you know something matters and you stay quiet because you're scared. Brave is when you're scared and you speak up anyway. Which one do you want to be?" That night, Zara wrote a letter. "Dear Mr. Musk," it began. "My name is Zara Chen, and I am 12 years old. I know you are very busy, but I think there might be a problem with the Starship fuel lines that could hurt people. Please look at my calculations. I could be wrong, but what if I'm right?" She included 6 pages of equations, drawings, and explanations. She tried to make it clear enough that even someone who wasn't an engineer could understand. She drew little diagrams with arrows and labels. She checked her math one more time. Then she printed it at the library, 10 cents per page, which meant she spent 60 cents of her lunch money, put it in an envelope and mailed it to SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. For 6 months, nothing happened. Zara almost forgot about the letter. She went to school. She did her homework. She kept going to the library, kept learning, kept filling notebooks. The letter became like a wish you make on a shooting star. You hope it comes true, but you don't really expect it to. Then last Thursday, Nana May came home from her shift at the grocery store holding a thick envelope. "Miha," she said, her voice shaking, Mia, this came for you. The return address said SpaceX. Zara's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a letter on official SpaceX letterhead. Dear Ms. Chen, thank you for your correspondence regarding the Starship fuel line system. After reviewing your calculations, our chief engineer would like to discuss your findings in person. We have arranged for you and a guardian to visit our Hawthorne facility on Tuesday, November 15th at 2 p.m. Please respond to confirm your attendance. Sincerely, Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, Chief Engineer. SpaceX. Zara read it 5 times before she believed it was real. They want to see me, she whispered. Nana, they actually want to see me. Nana May hugged her so tight Zara could barely breathe. I told you, Miha. I told you the truth always matters. Now, standing in this massive lobby with rockets overhead and her heart pounding like a drum, Zara wasn't sure if coming here was the bravest thing she'd ever done or the stupidest. Conference room 7 is this way, said a tall woman in a sharp black suit. She had appeared suddenly, like she'd materialized from thin air. I'm Dr. Sarah Okonkwo. We spoke on the phone. Hi, Zara managed. Her voice came out as a squeak. Dr. Okonkwo's expression was hard to read. Not mean, but not exactly warm either. Professional. How old are you again? 12? I'll be 13 in February. And you taught yourself orbital mechanics and thermodynamics? Yes, ma'am. At the library mostly, and online. They walked down a long corridor. Through windows, Zara could see workshops where people in clean suits worked on enormous pieces of equipment. Rocket engines, fuel tanks, things she'd only seen in videos. I'll be honest with you, Zara, Dr. Okonkwo said as they walked. When your letter arrived, most people wanted to throw it away. A 12-year-old claiming to find a critical flaw in a design that 200 engineers have worked on for 3 years. It seemed impossible. Zara's stomach sank. But you read it anyway? I read it because I was the kid like you once. Grew up in a small town in Nigeria. Taught myself physics from library books because my school didn't have science equipment. Everyone said I was crazy for thinking I could be an engineer. Dr. Okonkwo stopped walking and looked directly at Zara. So I gave your letter to our best analyst. She ran your calculations through our simulation software. And you were right, partially at least. Your math was sound. The conditions you described would create a problem. Dr. Okonkwo's voice got quieter. We need to know if you understand just how serious this could be. 4 astronauts, Zara said immediately. That's how many people the next Starship mission is supposed to carry, right? 4 people with families, with kids, with people who love them. Her voice cracked a little. That's why I wrote the letter, not because I wanted to show off, because I was scared someone would get hurt. For the first time, Dr. Okonkwo smiled. It was small, but it was real. That's exactly why we need to talk to you. Come on, everyone's waiting. Everyone. That word sent a new wave of panic through Zara's chest. Dr. Okonkwo pushed open 2 large doors. Conference room 7 was massive. A huge table dominated the center. Screens covered every wall, showing data, designs, live feeds from spacecraft currently in orbit. And around that table sat 20 people. 20 adults, 20 engineers and scientists with gray hair and fancy degrees in experience Zara couldn't even imagine. They all turned to look at her. At the head of the table sat a man Zara recognized instantly from 1,000 interviews and articles. Thin face, intense eyes. The kind of person who looked like his brain was always running calculations. Elon Musk. You're the kid who sent the letter about the fuel lines? He asked. His voice was casual, almost friendly, but his eyes were sharp. Analyzing. Yes, sir. Zara clutched her backpack strap so hard her knuckles turned white. I'm Zara Chen. Well, Zara Chen, Elon leaned back in his chair. 200 very smart, very experienced people designed this spacecraft. What makes you think you found something they missed? It wasn't said meanly. He actually seemed curious. Zara took a deep breath. This was it. The moment where she either proved she knew what she was talking about or became the biggest joke in aerospace engineering history. Because, she said, finding her voice, sometimes being new means you see things differently. You haven't learned what to ignore yet. She pulled out her notebook. The the one with the crinkled pages and the worn cover. And because I ran the numbers 17 times, I wanted to be wrong, but I'm not wrong. A man with silver hair and a sharp suit scoffed. Do you even know what thermodynamic equilibrium means? It's when heat flowing into a system equals heat flowing out, creating a stable temperature, Zara answered automatically. But during re-entry, you don't have equilibrium. You have rapid thermal fluctuation, which creates stress on materials. She looked directly at the silver-haired man. And titanium, which is great for lots of things, has a specific thermal expansion coefficient that makes it vulnerable under the exact conditions I calculated. The silver-haired man's eyes widened slightly. Dr. Okonkwo gestured to the massive whiteboard at the front of the room. Zara, we've set up simulation software that can test your theory in real time. But first, we need you to show us your work. Walk us through your calculations. Can you do that? Could she do that? In front of Elon Musk and 20 genius engineers? With her future and maybe 4 astronauts' lives, depending on whether she was right? Zara's hands were shaking. Her mouth was dry. She could feel sweat on her forehead. Then she thought of Nana May's words. Which one do you want to be? Stupid and silent or brave and loud? She walked to the whiteboard. Someone handed her a marker. It felt impossibly heavy in her hand. Okay, she said, her voice stronger now. Let me show you. She started writing. Numbers flowed from the marker. Equations built upon equations. She drew the fuel line system, labeled each component, marked the critical stress points. Her nervousness began to fade as she fell into the math. The beautiful, logical, undeniable math. The Starship's re-entry profile is designed for an angle between 15 and 20 degrees. Zara explained as she wrote. Most simulations probably test at 16 or 18 degrees because those are the most common. But at exactly 17.3 degrees, which happens more often than you'd think because of atmospheric variation, you get this specific drag coefficient. She drew arrows showing force vectors. Combined with outside temperatures below -40 Fahrenheit, which happens during winter launches or launches in the early morning, the titanium contracts by 0.003 inches. Doesn't sound like much, right? Several engineers nodded. But the fuel lines are under pressure of 2,000 pounds per square inch during re-entry burn. That 0.003 inches of contraction creates microfractures right here. She circled a spot on her diagram. These fractures are too small to detect with standard sensors. But when fuel flows through at that pressure, basic materials science says the cracks propagate fast. She wrote out the crack propagation equation, her hands steady now, lost in the work she loved. 94 seconds, she said, turning to face the room. That's how long from the start of re-entry burn to catastrophic fuel line failure. 94 seconds for 4 people to realize something's wrong, try to fix it, and fail. 94 seconds before... She couldn't finish that sentence. The room was completely silent. The silver-haired man stood up slowly. His face was red. Young lady, we've run these calculations 1,000 times. Our team includes people with PhDs from MIT, from Stanford, from Caltech. We have 3 decades of combined experience. And yet you missed it, Zara said quietly. She wasn't trying to be rude. It was just true. I'm sorry, but it's there. In the math, in the physics. You can check it yourselves. Elon Musk stood up. Every eye in the room turned to him. He walked slowly to the whiteboard, studying Zara's work with intense concentration. He traced her equations with his finger, his lips moving silently as he recalculated in his head. The silence stretched so long Zara felt like she might explode. Finally, Elon turned to Dr. Okonkwo. Sarah, run these numbers through our simulation software, right now. Dr. Okonkwo's fingers flew across her laptop keyboard. The large screen on the wall came to life. A 3D model of the Starship appeared, rotating slowly. Numbers and graphs filled the sides of the screen. Running re-entry simulation, Dr. Okonkwo said. Standard parameters first. The digital Starship entered Earth's atmosphere. Everything glowed green. Success flashed across the screen. Now with Zara's specific conditions, re-entry angle 17.3 degrees, outside temperature -42 Fahrenheit. The simulation ran again. This time Zara watched a small section of the fuel lines turn yellow, then orange, then bright red. Cracks appeared in the digital model, spreading like lightning through glass. A timer in the corner counted up 89 seconds, 90 seconds, 91 seconds. At 94 seconds, the screen flashed red. Critical failure. Fuel line rupture. The room erupted. Engineers shouted over each other. Someone said, "How did we miss this?" Another voice, "We launch in 48 hours." A woman near the back, "We need to call the astronauts." "Quiet!" Elon's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. Everyone fell silent immediately. He turned to Zara. His expression was impossible to read. For a long moment, he just stared at her. Zara felt like she was being x-rayed, like he could see every thought in her head. "Do you understand what you've just done?" he asked. Zara's eyes filled with tears. All the fear, all the pressure, all the uncertainty crashed over her at once. Did I do something wrong?" "Wrong?" Elon shook his head slowly. "Zara, you just saved 4 lives. 4 astronauts who would have launched in 48 hours. And 94 seconds into re-entry, they would have died. Because we missed this. Because 200 smart people looked at the numbers and didn't see what a 12-year-old in a public library saw." He paused, and his next words were heavy with meaning. "But now we have a bigger problem. We can't cancel this mission. There's $400 million on the line, international agreements, astronauts' families who've already said goodbye. The media is watching. The whole world is watching." His eyes locked onto Zara's. "So I need to ask you something important." Zara wiped her tears away with her sleeve. "What? Can you help us fix it?" The question hung in the air like smoke. A 12-year-old girl, 48 hours until launch, 4 lives depending on finding a solution. The eyes of the world's smartest aerospace engineers, all staring at her, waiting for her answer. Zara thought about Commander Lisa Hartman and the 3 other astronauts whose pictures she'd seen on the SpaceX website. She thought about their families. She thought about her mother, who she barely remembered, who Nana May said loved science and discovery and helping people. She thought about the truth being like the sun, still there, still shining, even behind the clouds. "I'll try," Zara said, her voice small but determined. "I'll try my best." Elon nodded once. "Then we better get to work. Someone order pizza. It's going to be a very long night." As the room burst into motion, people grabbing laptops, pulling up designs, starting to reorganize the space into a war room, Zara stood at the whiteboard with her marker still in her hand. She'd just stepped into a world that was way too big for her, a problem that was way too important, a challenge that might be impossible. But impossible, Zara was learning, just meant nobody had figured it out yet, and she had 48 hours to prove that even impossible problems could be solved. The conference room transformed in minutes. People moved with urgent purpose, like ants rebuilding a damaged colony. Laptops appeared on every available surface. Someone wheeled in 3 additional whiteboards. The silver-haired man who'd questioned Zara, his name badge said Dr. Marcus Webb, was already on his phone, barking orders about pulling design specifications from the archive. Zara stood frozen near the main whiteboard, suddenly feeling very small and very young. "Hey!" A woman with dark curly hair and friendly eyes appeared beside her, holding 2 bottles of water. "You look like you could use this. I'm Jamie Torres, Material Science Division." She couldn't have been more than 25, much younger than most of the other engineers. Zara took the water gratefully. Her throat was desert dry. "Thanks. That was pretty incredible, what you just did," Jamie said quietly. "I've been here 3 years and I've never seen Dr. Webb speechless before. You just made history." "I don't feel like I made history," Zara admitted. "I feel like I'm going to throw up." Jamie laughed, but it was kind. "That's how all the best discoveries feel. If you're not scared, you're probably not doing anything important." She squeezed Zara's shoulder. "Come on, let's get you set up with a workspace. You're part of the team now." Part of the team. The words sent electricity through Zara's chest. Dr. Okonkwo clapped her hands, drawing everyone's attention. "Listen up. We have 48 hours until launch. That's not much time, but it's what we have. We need solutions, and we need them fast." "Zara," she looked directly at her, "you found the problem. That makes you the expert on this issue. Whether you're 12 or 52, we're going to need you to help us understand every detail of your calculations. Can you do that? Zara nodded, though her stomach was doing somersaults. Good. Everyone else, we're splitting into 3 teams. Team 1 works on delaying the launch. Legal, political, financial implications. Team 2 explores alternative re-entry profiles that avoid the critical conditions. Team 3, that's us, works on fixing the fuel line design itself. Dr. Okonkwo's voice was sharp and clear. Elon wants hourly updates. No solution is too crazy to consider. Questions? Just one, Dr. Webb said, standing up. He looked at Zara, and his expression was softer than before, almost apologetic. Zara, I need to say something. When you walked in here, I didn't take you seriously. That was wrong of me. My job as a scientist is to look at evidence, not make assumptions based on age or experience. He cleared his throat. Your calculations are brilliant. I'm sorry I doubted you. The room fell quiet. Zara felt her eyes getting hot again. It's okay, she managed. I understand. I'm just a kid. No, Dr. Webb said firmly. You're an engineer who saw what we missed. That's what you are. Something inside Zara's chest swelled. Pride, maybe, or belonging, or the feeling that maybe, just maybe, she was exactly where she was supposed to be. Elon Musk, who had been typing furiously on his phone, looked up. Zara, come here for a second. Zara's legs felt wobbly as she walked over to him. Up close, Elon looked tired. There were dark circles under his eyes. His hair stuck up in odd directions. He looked like someone who carried the weight of impossible problems every single day. You scared? He asked bluntly. Terrified, Zara admitted. Good. Fear means you understand the stakes. He pulled out his phone and showed her a photo. 4 people in orange spacesuits smiling at the camera. That's the crew. Commander Lisa Hartman, she's got 2 kids, ages 7 and 9. Dr. James Park, botanist, just got married last year. Captain Rodriguez and Specialist Chen, no relation to you, I assume, both veterans with families waiting for them. Zara stared at their faces. Real people, not just names or numbers, people with lives and loved ones and futures. I'm showing you this because it's important you know what we're fighting for, Elon continued. But I also need you to know something else. If we implement a solution and it fails, people will blame you. The media, the internet, maybe even some people in this room. It's not fair, but it's reality. A 12-year-old proposing a fix for a rocket design? If something goes wrong, you'll be the easy target. Zara's mouth went dry. She hadn't thought about that. So I'm giving you a choice right now, Elon said. You can stay and help us, or you can walk away. We'll tell everyone you consulted, we'll thank you for finding the problem, and you can go home. No shame in that. You've already done more than anyone could expect. Zara looked at the faces on the phone. Commander Hartman's smile, Dr. Park's kind eyes. She thought about Nana May, waiting at home, probably pacing the kitchen floor and praying. She thought about her mother, whose face she could barely remember, but whose love of science lived in Zara's bones. If I leave now, do you think you can fix it without me? Zara asked. Elon considered this. Maybe, probably. My team is very good. But you're asking me to stay, which means you think I can help. I think you see this problem in a way we don't. Fresh eyes, like you said. No preconceptions about how things should work. Zara took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. Then I'm staying. Those people, she gestured to the photo, they deserve everyone's best work, including mine. Elon studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay then, let's get to work. He raised his voice to the room. Team 3, gather around the main whiteboard. Zara is going to walk us through every detail of the failure scenario. We need to understand it completely before we can fix it. 15 people clustered around the whiteboard. Some sat, others stood with arms crossed. All of them watched Zara with a mixture of curiosity, respect, and doubt. Zara picked up the marker. Her hand trembled slightly, but once she started writing, the trembling stopped. Math had always been her safe place. Numbers didn't care how old you were or where you came from. They just were. Okay, she began, drawing a detailed cross-section of the fuel line. The problem starts with thermal contraction. Titanium's linear thermal expansion coefficient is 8.6 times 10 to the negative 6th per degree Celsius. When temperature drops from 20 Celsius to negative 40 Celsius, we're talking about a 60-degree change. She wrote out the calculation, her marker squeaking against the board. That means the fuel line contracts by 0.003 inches. Now, the lines are designed with stress tolerances that should handle normal contraction. But here's what makes this situation different. She drew a diagram showing the fuel line's position during re-entry. At the 17.3-degree angle, the G-forces create additional stress on this section of the line right here. She circled a joint where two sections connected. Normal stress plus thermal stress plus G-force stress equals cumulative stress that exceeds the titanium's yield strength. Jamie Torres finished, her eyes wide. It's not just one factor. It's all three happening at exactly the same time. Exactly! Zara felt a surge of excitement. Individually, each stress factor is manageable, but combined in this precise sequence, they create what's called cascading failure. The metal doesn't just crack, it loses structural integrity progressively. Dr. Webb leaned forward, studying the diagram. Show us the timeline. Minute by minute, what happens? Zara flipped to a new whiteboard and drew a timeline. Minute 0, re-entry begins. Everything seems normal. The fuel lines are cold but functioning. Minute 1, the spacecraft hits the atmosphere at the critical angle. G-forces spike. The titanium, already contracted, experiences additional stress at the joint. She marked each event on the timeline with precise notes. Minute 1, 34 seconds, microfractures appear. They're invisible to sensors, maybe a few microns wide. The fuel is flowing, but pressure hasn't peaked yet, so nothing seems wrong. The room was completely silent, except for Zara's voice and the squeak of the marker. Minute 2, fuel pressure increases for the final descent burn. 2,000 psi pushing through lines that now have microfractures. Basic materials science. Pressure finds weakness. The cracks start propagating. She drew branching lines showing how the cracks would spread. It happens fast, exponentially fast. Minute 2, 34 seconds. The cracks reach critical length. The fuel line is seconds away from rupture. Warning lights might start flashing now, but it's too late. There's no time to shut down the engine safely. Minute 2, 37 seconds. Zara stopped. She couldn't say it out loud. Dr. Okonkwo said it for her voice quiet. Catastrophic failure, fuel explosion, loss of crew. No one spoke. The weight of those words pressed down on everyone. Finally, a younger engineer named David Chen spoke up. Could we reinforce the joints? Add support brackets? Not enough time to fabricate and install them, Dr. Webb said, shaking his head. We'd need at least a week. What about changing the fuel mixture? Someone else suggested. Lower the pressure required? That would affect thrust calculations for the entire mission, Dr. Okonkwo replied. We'd have to recalculate orbital mechanics, fuel consumption, everything. Also not doable in 48 hours. Idea after idea came forward. Each one was shot down. Too complex, too time-consuming, too risky. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder with each passing minute. 11:47 p.m. They'd been at this for 9 hours. Pizza boxes were stacked in the corner, mostly uneaten. Coffee cups littered every surface. Zara's eyes burned with exhaustion, but she couldn't stop thinking. There had to be a solution. There had to be. Maybe we're looking at this wrong, Jamie Torres said suddenly. She was pacing now, her curly hair wild from running her hands through it. We keep trying to fix the fuel lines or change the re-entry profile. But what if we don't change either? What if we change how the fuel lines experience the temperature? Dr. Webb frowned. I don't follow. Insulation, Jamie said, getting excited. What if we wrap the vulnerable sections in thermal insulation? If we can keep the titanium from getting so cold, it won't contract as much. No excessive contraction means no microfractures, Zara finished, her heart suddenly pounding. Jamie, that could actually work. But Dr. Webb was already shaking his head. Thermal insulation that can handle re-entry temperatures? That's specialized material. We'd need to source it, fabricate it to exact specifications, test it. Aerogel, Zara interrupted. Everyone looked at her. You already have aerogel panels on the Starship for heat shielding. I saw them in the technical specifications. Her words came faster as the idea crystallized. Aerogel can handle extreme temperatures. It's super lightweight so it won't throw off weight calculations, and you have it in storage right now. What if we repurpose some of the existing aerogel panels? Dr. Okonkwo was already typing on her laptop. Pulling up aerogel inventory, we have 12 backup heat shield panels in storage. Each panel is 48 inches by 36 inches. She looked up. Zara, how much coverage do we need? Zara grabbed a calculator and started computing. Her fingers flew over the numbers. The vulnerable section of fuel line is approximately 18 feet long. If we wrap it with aerogel cut into strips, allowing for overlap and secure attachment, we'd need about 96 square feet of material. The backup panels total 144 square feet, Dr. Okonkwo said. That's enough, with room to spare. Wait, Dr. Webb interjected. Even if we have the material, installing it means accessing the fuel lines. That requires partially disassembling the spacecraft, and we need to test the solution before we implement it. We can't just wrap some insulation around critical components and hope for the best. He's right, Elon said. He'd been quiet for the last hour, listening, thinking. We need to test this virtually first. Run simulations. If the aerogel solution works in the simulations, then we talk about physical installation. Dr. Okonkwo nodded. I can set up a comprehensive simulation, but I need exact specifications. How thick the aerogel wrapping should be, where exactly to place it, how to secure it without creating new stress points. I can calculate that, Zara said. I just need the aerogel's thermal properties and the fuel line's exact dimensions. I'll get you those, Jamie said, already moving to her laptop. And I need coffee, Dr. Webb muttered. Lots of coffee. This is going to be a very long night. The next 6 hours blurred together. Numbers and simulations and calculations and debates. Zara worked alongside PhD engineers, her age forgotten in the urgency of the problem. When she got stuck on a complex thermodynamic equation, Dr. Webb helped her through it. When Dr. Webb made an error in the stress calculations, even experts make mistakes, Zara caught it. They were a team, a real team. At 5:43 a.m., as weak dawn light started filtering through the conference room windows, Dr. Okonkwo hit enter on her laptop for the final simulation run. The room fell silent. Everyone was exhausted. Zara had dark circles under her eyes. Dr. Webb had fallen asleep at one point and woken up with whiteboard marker on his face. Jamie Torres was on her fourth energy drink. Even Elon Musk, who seemed like he never slept, looked worn down. The simulation loaded. The 3D Starship model appeared on the screen, now with a highlighted section showing aerogel insulation wrapped around the critical fuel line joints. Running re-entry scenario, Dr. Okonkwo said, her voice hoarse from hours of talking. Zara's exact conditions. Angle 17.3 degrees, temperature negative 42 Fahrenheit. The digital spacecraft entered the atmosphere. The fuel lines appeared on screen, with a temperature readout beside them. Without insulation, they would have dropped to negative 40 degrees. With the aerogel wrapping, they stayed at negative 12 degrees. The critical moment approached. 1 minute into re-entry, 1 minute 30. The seconds ticked by like heartbeats. 1 minute 34 seconds, the point where microfractures would have appeared. The fuel lines glowed green. No fractures detected. 2 minutes. Fuel pressure spiked to 2,000 psi. Everyone in the room seemed to hold their breath. 2 minutes, 34 seconds. The cracks should have reached critical length. Still green, still intact. 2 minutes, 37 seconds. The moment of catastrophic failure. Success. The screen flashed green. All systems nominal. Re-entry complete. The room erupted. Engineers cheered and hugged each other. Someone let out a whoop of joy. Dr. Webb pumped his fist in the air. Jamie Torres grabbed Zara and spun her around. You did it! Jamie shouted over the celebration. Zara, you did it! We did it, Zara corrected, but she was grinning so hard her face hurt. Elon Musk stood up slowly. He raised his hand for quiet. The celebration died down, everyone turning to look at him. That simulation shows the solution works virtually, he said, but now comes the hard part. We need to physically install this insulation. That means opening up sections of the spacecraft, accessing the fuel lines, cutting and fitting the aerogel precisely, testing every connection and closing it all back up. All in, he checked his watch, 36 hours. The celebration mood sobered instantly. Can it be done? Someone asked. It has to be done, Elon replied. Dr. Okonkwo, assemble your best installation team. I want our top technicians on this, working in shifts so people can rest. Dr. Webb, coordinate with Mission Control about extending pre-flight checks. Jamie, you're on quality control. Every step gets verified before we move to the next. He turned to Zara. And you need to sleep. But I can help, Zara started. You've been awake for 24 hours. You found the problem and helped create the solution. But the physical installation requires trained technicians with safety certifications. His voice softened slightly. You've done your part, Zara. Brilliantly. Now let the team do theirs. We'll call you if we need anything. Zara wanted to argue, but her body betrayed her with a huge yawn. Dr. Okonkwo smiled. There's a restroom down the hall with a couch. You can crash there for a few hours. I'll have someone wake you at noon with an update. As the engineers dispersed to their various tasks, Zara gathered her notebook and backpack. Her legs felt like rubber. Her brain was fuzzy with exhaustion, but underneath it all was a feeling she'd never experienced before. She'd helped solve an impossible problem. Her math, her persistence, her willingness to speak up, it had mattered. Really mattered. Jamie Torres walked with her to the restroom. Hey, Zara, I just want you to know, you're going to inspire a lot of kids. Kids who think they're not smart enough or old enough or qualified enough. You just proved that if you work hard and care about what you're doing, age doesn't matter. Thanks, Zara said, her voice thick with emotion and tiredness. Jamie, do you think this will really work? Not just in the simulation, but in real life? Jamie was quiet for a moment. I think we've done everything right. I think the math is solid, but space is unpredictable. There's always risk. That's why what those astronauts do is so brave, and why what you did, speaking up, pushing for the truth, is equally brave. The restroom was small but clean, with a comfortable couch and a blanket. Zara collapsed onto it, still wearing her shoes. She pulled out her phone, which she'd barely looked at for 24 hours. 17 missed calls from Nana May. 23 text messages. The most recent text, sent at 5 a.m., made Zara's eyes water. Mija, whatever happens, I'm proud of you. You were brave. You spoke truth. That's all anyone can do. Te amo, Nana Zara typed back quickly. We found a solution. They're installing it now. I love you too. We'll call when I wake up. She set her phone aside, pulled the blanket up to her chin, and closed her eyes. Her last thought before sleep claimed her was of Commander Hartman and her 2 kids, ages 7 and 9. If everything went right, those kids would get their mom back safely, because a 12-year-old girl noticed something wrong and had the courage to say so. That thought carried her into the deepest, most peaceful sleep she'd had in weeks. But what Zara didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that at that exact moment, someone was writing an email that would change everything. An email to a major news outlet containing photos of Zara's whiteboard calculations and internal SpaceX documents. An email with the subject line, SpaceX emergency, child's theory puts astronaut lives at risk. In 36 hours, Zara would wake up to find her face plastered across every news channel in America. And the world would be watching to see if a 12-year-old girl's solution would save 4 lives or doom them. The real test was just beginning. Zara woke to someone gently shaking her shoulder. Zara? Zara, wake up. She opened her eyes, confused for a moment about where she was. The unfamiliar room, the blanket that smelled like laundry detergent. Then it all came flooding back. SpaceX, the fuel lines, the solution. Dr. Okonkwo stood over her, holding a tray with a sandwich and orange juice. It's noon. I promised I'd wake you. How do you feel? Like I got hit by a truck, Zara admitted, sitting up. Every muscle in her body ached. Her neck was stiff from the awkward angle she'd slept in. How's the installation going? Come see for yourself. Dr. Okonkwo's smile was tired but genuine. Eat first, though. You need fuel. Zara devoured the sandwich in about 4 bites. She hadn't realized how hungry she was. As she ate, Dr. Okonkwo filled her in on the progress. The team started installation at 7 this morning. They've completed the first section of fuel line wrapping. It's slow work. Everything has to be perfect. But we're on schedule. She paused. There's something else you should know. The story leaked. Zara's stomach dropped. What story? About you? About the fuel line problem? Someone, we don't know who yet, sent information to the media. As of about an hour ago, your face is on the news. The sandwich suddenly felt like concrete in Zara's stomach. What are they saying, Dr. Okonkwo pulled out her phone and showed Zara a news headline. SpaceX emergency. 12-year-old discovers fatal flaw in rocket design. Another headline, child genius or dangerous gamble. Elon Musk bets lives on middle schooler. And another, girl's discovery halts SpaceX launch. Astronauts' families demand answers. Zara felt like she couldn't breathe. They're blaming me. Some are, Dr. Okonkwo said honestly, but not everyone. Look at this one. She scrolled to a different article. 12-year-old hero prevents space disaster. The internet is divided, Dr. Okonkwo explained. Some people think you're amazing. Others think we're crazy for listening to a child. The comments sections are, well, they're ugly. I don't recommend reading them. Does Naname know? Zara asked, her voice small. We called her. She's safe. There are reporters outside your apartment building, but security is keeping them away from your door. She wants to come here, and we're arranging a car to bring her safely. Dr. Okonkwo squeezed Zara's shoulder. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to get harder before it gets better. The pressure, the attention, the criticism. Are you okay? Zara thought about lying, about saying she was fine, but Dr. Okonkwo deserved honesty. I'm scared, Zara admitted. What if we're wrong? What if the solution doesn't work and people get hurt because they listen to me? Then it's on all of us, not just you, Dr. Okonkwo said firmly. You showed us the problem. 20 experienced engineers verified your calculations. We all agreed on the solution together. If it fails, we all failed. But Zara, she looked directly into Zara's eyes. I don't think it will fail. I've been an engineer for 15 years. I've never seen anyone, at any age, work through a problem as thoroughly as you did. Trust the math. Trust the team. Trust yourself. A knock at the door interrupted them. Jamie Torres poked her head in. Hey, the installation team wants Zara to see something. If she's up for it? Zara stood brushing sandwich crumbs off her shirt. I'm up for it. They walked through corridors that felt more familiar now. Through windows, Zara could see the enormous clean room where the Starship stood, surrounded by scaffolding and technicians in white suits. Her rocket. Well, not her rocket, but the one she'd helped save. In the observation deck, a dozen people clustered around monitors showing live feeds of the installation work. Dr. Webb waved Zara over. Come look at this. You need to see your solution in action. On the screen, 2 technicians carefully wrapped strips of aerogel around a section of titanium fuel line. The aerogel was a strange bluish color, almost ghostly. It looked delicate, but Zara knew it could withstand temperatures that would melt steel. That's Section B, Dr. Webb explained, pointing to a diagram. The most critical joint. They're using the wrapping pattern you calculated. Triple layer at the stress points, double layer everywhere else. It's like surgical work. Beautiful, really. How much longer? Zara asked. At current pace, they'll finish by midnight. Then we run a full system check. If everything passes, we're good for launch tomorrow afternoon. Dr. Webb glanced at her. I saw the news coverage. How are you holding up? Zara shrugged, trying to seem braver than she felt. Okay, I guess. You know what I learned in my 30 years as an engineer? Dr. Webb said. The people who criticize are usually the ones too afraid to try. You tried. You put yourself out there. That takes guts. Don't let the noise make you doubt what you know is right. Before Zara could respond, her phone buzzed. Naname was calling. Zara stepped into the hallway for privacy. Miha! Naname's voice was thick with emotion. Are you okay? I've been so worried. I'm okay, Nana. I'm at SpaceX still. They're installing the fix now. I saw the news. Naname's voice hardened. People saying terrible things about you. About how you're too young, how this is irresponsible. I wanted to reach through the TV and shake them. Despite everything, Zara smiled. It's okay, Nana. Not everyone understands. No, it's not okay. You saved lives. Mija, you worked harder than anyone I know. You deserve respect, not criticism. Nana May took a shaky breath. But I need to ask you something. Are you sure about the solution? Because if you have any doubts, any at all, you can still speak up. You can still say you need more time. Zara closed her eyes, thinking. Was she sure? Could anyone be completely sure about something this important? Nana, do you remember when you taught me to bake your special chocolate cake? You said even if you follow the recipe perfectly, sometimes things go wrong. The oven might be different, the ingredients might react oddly. But if you do your best work and follow what you know is true, that's all you can do. I remember, Nana May said softly. I've done my best work, Zara said. I've checked and rechecked. The team has verified everything. We've run simulations, we've tested the theory. I believe this will work, Nana. I really do. Then I believe in you, Mija, always. Nana May paused. They're sending a car for me in an hour. I'll be there soon. Te amo. Te amo, Nana. Zara returned to the observation deck to find it more crowded than before. Elon Musk had arrived, along with several people in suits, probably executives or lawyers or government officials. They were having an intense discussion near the back of the room. Jamie motioned Zara over to a quiet corner. Things are getting complicated, she whispered. The media attention has NASA asking questions. The FAA wants additional safety reviews. There are investors threatening to pull funding if we delay the launch. And the astronauts' families. She trailed off. What about them? Zara asked, her heart pounding. Commander Hartman's husband released a statement. He said they trust SpaceX, but he's scared. His kids have been watching the news, asking if mommy's spaceship is broken. Jamie's eyes were sad. This isn't just about engineering anymore. It's about people. Real people with real fears. Zara felt the weight of that truth settle on her shoulders like a physical thing. She'd been so focused on the math, on the problem solving, that she hadn't fully considered the human side. Those astronauts had families. They had people who loved them, people who were terrified right now. I need to do something, Zara said suddenly. What do you mean? I need to talk to them, the families, or at least write to them. They deserve to hear from me directly. To know that I'm not some reckless kid playing with their loved ones' lives. Jamie looked uncertain. I don't know if that's a good idea. The media would definitely get hold of it, and I don't care about the media, Zara interrupted. I care about those families. Can you help me? 20 minutes later, Zara sat at a desk with a piece of SpaceX letterhead and a pen. Dr. Okonkwo had agreed to help her write letters to each astronaut's family. They would be delivered privately, not through the media. Dear Mr. Hartman and family, Zara wrote carefully. My name is Zara Chen. I'm the person who found the problem with the Starship fuel lines. I'm 12 years old and I know that probably scares you. It would scare me too, if I were in your position. I want you to know that I didn't take this lightly. I checked my calculations 17 times before I even sent my letter to Mr. Musk. When I came to SpaceX, a whole team of expert engineers verified everything I found. We've worked together to create a solution that we believe will keep Commander Hartman and the other astronauts safe. I can't promise nothing will go wrong. No one can promise that in space exploration. But I can promise that I've done my absolute best work. I've used everything I've learned, every bit of knowledge I have, to help protect your mom and wife. I saw a picture of your family. Your 2 kids look really happy. I hope Commander Hartman comes home safely so she can see them again. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens. Sincerely, Zara Chen. She wrote similar letters to each family, personalizing them based on what she'd learned about each astronaut. Her hand cramped by the end, but it felt important, necessary. As she sealed the last envelope, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the corridors. People started running. What's happening? Zara shouted over the noise. Dr. Okonkwo appeared, her face pale. Problem in the clean room. Something went wrong with the installation. Zara's heart felt like it stopped. How wrong? We don't know yet. Come on. They rushed to the observation deck. The monitors showed chaos. Technicians moving quickly, someone pointing at something Zara couldn't quite see. The audio feed crackled with urgent voices. Stress reading is off. Not matching the calculations. Need to halt installation immediately. Zara pushed closer to the screens. On the monitor, she could see the section of fuel line they just finished wrapping. Something about it looked wrong. The aerogel was bunched in one area, creating an uneven thickness. What happened? Elon Musk demanded, striding into the room. A technician's voice came through the speakers. Sir, we followed the specifications exactly, but when we secured the final fastening point, the aerogel shifted. The thickness is now uneven. The left side has 2.3 inches of insulation, but the right side only has 1.7 inches. That's a problem, Dr. Webb muttered. Uneven insulation means uneven heat distribution. That could create new stress points. Zara's mind raced. She grabbed her notebook and started calculating frantically. Heat distribution with uneven insulation, thermal gradients, stress concentration. We need to remove it and start over, someone suggested. We don't have time, another voice argued. That would put us behind by at least 6 hours. If we launch with uneven insulation, we could create a worse problem than what we started with, Dr. Okonkwo said grimly. Everyone started talking at once, arguing, suggesting solutions. The noise was overwhelming. Zara pressed her hands against her ears, trying to think. Then she saw it, in her calculations. A possibility no one else had considered. Wait, she shouted. Everyone, please wait. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. What if we don't redo it? Zara said, her voice shaking but determined. What if we redistribute the weight on the opposite side instead? Explain, Elon said sharply. Zara rushed to the nearest whiteboard. Look, the uneven aerogel creates unbalanced weight distribution, but if we add counterweight to the opposite side of the spacecraft, we can balance it out. Not with more aerogel, but with something else. Something we already have. Her marker flew across the board. The water tanks for the crew. If we shift them slightly to the right side, approximately 14 inches, the weight distribution balances, and water serves a secondary purpose, thermal mass. It can help absorb heat fluctuations. Dr. Webb studied her calculations. That could actually work, but moving the water tanks means rerouting some of the plumbing connections, which we can do in about 4 hours, a technician chimed in over the speakers. We've done similar modifications before. It's complex, but not impossible. Run a simulation, Elon ordered. I want to see this work virtually before we try it physically. For the next hour, Zara worked with Dr. Okonkwo and the engineering team to input all the variables into the simulation software. The uneven aerogel, the repositioned water tanks, the modified plumbing. Every detail had to be perfect. Finally, Dr. Okonkwo hit the enter key. The simulation loaded. The 3D starship appeared on screen, now showing both the uneven aerogel insulation and the adjusted water tank position. The re-entry scenario began. Zara held her breath. Temperature readings, normal. Stress distribution, within acceptable ranges. Weight balance, optimal. The spacecraft entered the critical 94 seconds. The fuel line stayed green. No fractures, no failures. Success. The room erupted in cheers again, but this time it felt different. More relieved than triumphant. They dodged another bullet. Implement the water tank repositioning immediately, Elon commanded. I want this done right. No more surprises. As people scattered to their tasks, Elon pulled Zara aside. His expression was serious, almost sad. Zara, we need to talk. Privately. They walked to his office, a surprisingly messy space filled with papers, computer screens, and half-empty coffee cups. Elon closed the door and sat down heavily. What you just did was brilliant, he said. Finding a solution on the fly, thinking outside the normal parameters, that's exceptional engineering. Thank you, Zara said cautiously. Something in his tone worried her. But I need to tell you something. Something important. Elon leaned forward. That flaw you found? It wasn't completely unknown to us. Zara felt her stomach drop. What do you mean? 6 months ago, one of our engineers, Dr. Richard Kowalski, flagged a potential issue with the fuel lines under extreme conditions, but his calculations weren't conclusive. The probability seemed low. The senior team voted to proceed with the design. Zara's mind reeled. So, someone else saw the problem first? Partially. Dr. Kowalski identified that there could be an issue, but he couldn't prove it definitively. His math had errors. The conditions he proposed were too vague. Elon's voice was measured. When your letter arrived, Dr. Okonkwo showed it to me because you had succeeded where Dr. Kowalski failed. You proved the problem existed. You found the exact conditions, the precise failure scenario. Why are you telling me this? Zara asked. Because Dr. Kowalski is the one who leaked the story to the press. Elon's face was grim. He was embarrassed that his concerns weren't taken seriously. When you came along and proved what he couldn't, it brought up old wounds. He wanted credit. Or maybe he wanted to punish the company for not listening to him. Zara thought about all the news headlines, the scrutiny, the pressure. He's trying to make this fail. I don't know about that, Elon said carefully, but he's definitely not helping. And I need you to understand something. When we go public with the full story, Dr. Kowalski's early concerns will come out. Some people will say he deserves the credit for identifying the issue first. They might say you just finished his work. Maybe they'd be right, Zara said quietly. Maybe he does deserve credit. Elon studied her with something like wonder. Most people would fight to keep all the recognition. You're 12 years old and more mature than most adults I know. Nana May says the truth is always better than glory, Zara replied. If Dr. Kowalski tried to warn people and wasn't heard, that matters. Even if his math wasn't perfect, he cared about safety. That's important. You're a remarkable person, Zara Chen. Elon stood up. There's one more thing you should know. Come with me. He led her to a secure file room and pulled out a folder. Inside was a photograph of a young woman in a SpaceX uniform. She had dark hair and kind eyes. She looked like an older version of Zara. Zara's breath caught. Who is that? Dr. Maya Chen, your mother. Elon's voice was gentle. She worked for SpaceX 8 years ago. She was one of our biomedical engineers, working on life support systems for long-duration spaceflight. Some of her designs are still in use today, including on the Starship. Tears filled Zara's eyes. My mother worked on this spacecraft? On the systems that keep astronauts alive during the mission. She was brilliant, dedicated, passionate about protecting people in space. Elon paused. She died in a car accident when you were 2. I didn't know her personally. The company was smaller then, but not small enough for me to know everyone. But her legacy lives on in the work she did. Zara stared at the photograph. She'd seen pictures of her mother before, but never like this. Never in her SpaceX uniform, never in this context. You have her mind, Elon said softly. Her dedication to protecting others. That's not genetics. That's who you choose to be. Zara couldn't stop the tears. I wish she could see this. See what I'm doing? I think she can, Elon replied, and I think she's very proud. A knock at the door interrupted them. Dr. Okonkwo poked her head in. Zara, your grandmother just arrived. Zara wiped her tears quickly and ran to the lobby. Nana May was there, looking smaller somehow in this massive building. But when she saw Zara, her face lit up like the sun. They crashed into each other, hugging fiercely. Nana May smelled like home, like her lavender soap in the kitchen where they baked together in safety. My brave girl, Nana May whispered. My brilliant, brave girl. Nana, they told me about Mama, about how she worked here, on this project. Nana May pulled back, tears in her eyes. I know, Mija. I've always known. I didn't tell you because I wanted you to find your own path, not feel like you had to follow hers. But it seems like you found the same path anyway, because you both have the same heart. They held each other as people moved around them, as the facility buzzed with activity, as the clock ticked down toward launch. In 24 hours, 4 astronauts would climb into a spacecraft. The solution Zara helped create would be tested not in simulation, but in the harsh reality of space. And the whole world would be watching to see if a 12-year-old girl's math could save 4 lives. The weight of it felt enormous. But standing there with Nana May's arms around her, Zara felt something else too. She felt ready. Whatever came next, whatever the world said, whatever happened tomorrow, she had done her best work. She had spoken truth. She had been brave, and sometimes that's all anyone can do. The next 36 hours blurred together like paint mixing on a canvas, impossible to separate one moment from the next. Zara and Nana May stayed at SpaceX headquarters. Dr. Okonkwo arranged a small guest room for them with 2 beds, a private bathroom, and a window overlooking the main facility. Zara should have slept, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw those 4 astronaut faces. Commander Hartman, Dr. Park, Captain Rodriguez, Specialist Chen. 4 people whose lives depended on her being right. At 3 a.m., she gave up trying to sleep and pulled out her notebook. She went through her calculations again, and again, each time the math came out the same. The solution should work. Should. Can't sleep either. Nana May's voice came soft from the other bed. I keep thinking about what if I missed something, Zara admitted in the darkness. What if there's another problem I didn't see? Nana May sat up and turned on the small lamp between their beds. Her face was tired but calm. Mia, let me tell you something about your mama. When she was pregnant with you, the doctors found complications. They said she needed a risky procedure. Something new, something not many doctors had tried. She researched it for weeks. She talked to specialists. She ran through every possible outcome. What happened? Zara asked, though part of her knew the answer. She made her choice based on the best information she had. The procedure worked. You were born healthy and strong. Nana May's voice cracked. Your mama didn't make it through the delivery, but she knew the risks. She accepted them because saving you mattered more than her fear. Zara felt tears on her cheeks. How did she know she was making the right choice? She didn't. Not for certain. Nobody ever does. Nana May reached across and took Zara's hand. But she did her homework. She trusted the experts. She trusted herself. Then she had the courage to act. That's all any of us can do, Mija. Do our best work, trust it, and be brave enough to stand by it. I'm so scared, Nana. Good. That means you understand what matters. Brave people are always scared. They just do it anyway. Nana May squeezed her hand. Now try to rest. Tomorrow is a big day. Zara finally dozed off around 4:30 a.m. Her notebook clutched to her chest like a security blanket. She woke to her phone buzzing insistently. 7:15 a.m. The screen showed dozens of notifications. News alerts, social media mentions, text messages from classmates she barely knew. One message stood out, from Mrs. Rodriguez, her teacher. Zara, the whole school is watching. We're so proud of you. Don't read the mean comments. Focus on what you know is true. Another from Marcus, the kid who'd laughed at her. I was wrong about you. Good luck today. And one that made her smile despite everything. From Mr. Chen at the library. The corner table misses you. Come back soon and tell me everything. You're going to change the world. A knock on the door. Jamie Torres poked her head in. Morning. Thought you two might want breakfast. Also, installation is complete. We're running final system checks now. Over bagels and orange juice in the cafeteria, Jamie updated them on the overnight progress. The repositioned water tanks are working perfectly. All connections are secure. The aerogel insulation is holding steady. We're running diagnostic tests on every system. Fuel lines, engines, life support, navigation. Everything has to be perfect. What time is launch? Nana May asked. 2:47 p.m. Exactly. Jamie checked her watch. That's 7 hours and 32 minutes from now. The astronauts arrive at noon for final preparations. Zara's stomach did a flip. They're coming here? Today? They never left. They've been in crew quarters the whole time, monitoring the situation. Actually, Jamie hesitated. Commander Hartman asked if she could meet you before the final preparations. Would you be okay with that? Zara wasn't sure if she was okay with that. Meeting the person whose life depended on your math seemed terrifying, but she nodded anyway. At 9:30 a.m., Zara stood in a small conference room, her hands shaking. Nana May stood beside her, providing silent support. The door opened. Commander Lisa Hartman walked in. She was shorter than Zara expected, maybe 5'4", with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore a blue flight suit with mission patches on the shoulders. But what struck Zara most were her eyes. Calm, intelligent, kind. "You must be Zara," Commander Hartman said, extending her hand. "I'm Lisa." They shook hands. Commander Hartman's grip was firm and warm. "I wanted to meet you before we launch," Lisa said, sitting down and gesturing for Zara to do the same. "I've been in space 3 times. I've done 7 spacewalks. I've fixed critical equipment while floating 250 miles above Earth. And I've never been as nervous as I was these past 2 days." "I'm sorry," Zara said automatically. "Don't be sorry, be proud." Lisa leaned forward. "My kids, Emma and Joshua, 7 and 9, they've been watching the news. They saw your picture." "You know what Emma said?" Zara shook her head. She said, "Mommy, that girl is smart and brave. When I grow up, I want to be like her." Lisa's eyes were bright with emotion. "Do you understand what that means? My daughter sees you and sees possibility. She sees that being smart matters, that speaking up matters, that age doesn't determine worth." "I was just trying to help," Zara said quietly. "And you did. You found something that could have killed me and my crew. Then you helped fix it." Lisa reached into her pocket and pulled out a small American flag patch. "This is a tradition. Astronauts carry flags to space and bring them back. This flag was supposed to go to my daughter Emma. But I want you to have it. When I come back safely, and I will come back safely, this flag will represent what you did. Your courage, your brilliance, your heart." Zara took the patch with trembling hands. It was small, maybe 2 inches across, but it felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "What if something goes wrong? What if—" "Then it won't be your fault," Lisa said firmly. "Space is dangerous. We accept that risk every time we launch. But because of you, we're safer than we would have been. That's what matters." She stood up. "I need to get back to final prep. But Zara, thank you. From me, from my crew, from our families. Thank you for caring enough to speak up." After Lisa left, Zara sat staring at the flag patch. Naname put an arm around her shoulders. "She's right, you know. Whatever happens, you did good. You did right." At 11:04 a.m., Zara stood in the observation deck with what felt like hundreds of people. Engineers, executives, media representatives, family members of the astronauts. Dr. Okonkwo appeared beside her. "System checks are 98% complete. Everything looks good. How are you holding up?" "Terrified," Zara admitted. "Me too," Dr. Okonkwo said. "I've been doing this for 15 years, and every launch terrifies me. That's how you know you haven't become careless." On the screens, the Starship stood gleaming on its launch pad, surrounded by gantries and fuel lines. It looked powerful and fragile at the same time, a testament to human ambition and vulnerability. At 11:47 a.m., disaster struck, not with the spacecraft, with the media. A reporter had somehow gotten hold of Zara's letters to the astronauts' families, the private, personal letters she'd written from her heart. Now they were being read on live television, analyzed by pundits, picked apart by commentators. "Look at this," one news anchor said, holding up a copy of the letter. She writes, "I can't promise nothing will go wrong. Is this really the person we should trust with astronaut safety? A 12-year-old who admits she can't guarantee success?" Another commentator jumped in. "The arrogance of this is stunning. SpaceX has hundreds of qualified engineers, but they're letting a middle school student drive critical decisions?" Zara watched the screen, feeling like she was going to be sick. Jamie tried to turn it off, but Zara stopped her. "No, I need to see this. I need to know what people think." But not all the coverage was negative. Another channel showed interviews with scientists supporting Zara. A former NASA engineer said, "Age is irrelevant. Good math is good math. If her calculations are sound, and multiple teams have verified they are, then she deserves credit, not criticism." A professor from MIT appeared on screen. "This young woman represents the future of science. Fresh perspectives, unbound by conventional thinking. SpaceX was smart to listen to her." The debate raged across every channel. Social media exploded with Shark Team Zara and Sharn SpaceX Gamble hashtags. People argued passionately on both sides. At 12:30 p.m., Elon Musk held an impromptu press conference. Zara watched from the observation deck as he faced dozens of cameras and reporters. "I want to address the concerns about our decision-making process," Elon began. His voice was clear and steady. "Zara Chen identified a critical flaw in our design. Her calculations were verified by multiple teams of experienced engineers. We then worked collaboratively to develop a solution. This solution has been tested extensively through simulation and physical implementation." A reporter shouted, "But she's 12 years old. How can you trust?" "I trust evidence," Elon interrupted. "I trust mathematics. I trust the scientific method. Age has nothing to do with whether someone's calculations are correct. Isaac Newton developed calculus at 23. Einstein published his theory of relativity at 26. Mozart composed symphonies as a child. Genius doesn't wait for permission or credentials." Another reporter, "What if the solution fails? Then we will have failed as a team, not as a company placing blame on a child consultant, but as a collective of engineers who made the best decisions we could with the information available." Elon's expression hardened. "But I don't believe we will fail. The math is sound, the engineering is solid, and 4 brave astronauts are about to prove that." At 1:30 p.m., the astronauts emerged from crew quarters in their white spacesuits. Cameras followed them as they walked to the transport vehicle that would take them to the launch pad. Commander Hartman paused before climbing in, looked directly at the camera and gave a thumbs up. Zara knew that thumbs up was for her. At 1:30 p.m., final preparations began. The observation deck fell into hushed anticipation. Zara found herself standing between Nana May and Dr. Okonkwo. Jamie stood on her other side. Even Dr. Webb, who doubted her at first, positioned himself nearby as if to offer silent support. The countdown clock appeared on every screen. T-minus 77 minutes. Dr. Okonkwo's phone buzzed. She looked at it and frowned. "We have a problem." Zara's heart dropped. "What kind of problem?" "Weather. There's an unexpected cold front moving in. Temperature at the launch site is dropping faster than predicted. We're looking at negative 38 degrees Fahrenheit at launch time." "That's close to the critical temperature threshold," Zara said, her mind immediately jumping to the calculations. "But still within safe parameters, right?" "Technically, yes, but it's closer than we'd like." Dr. Karen Okonkwo pulled up weather data on her tablet. "Mission Control is debating whether to delay." Elon appeared, having clearly gotten the same information. "What's your assessment?" he asked Dr. Okonkwo. "The aerogel insulation was designed to handle temperatures down to negative 42 degrees. We're at negative 38. That gives us a 4-degree buffer. It should be fine." "Should be," Elon repeated, "but you're not certain." "In engineering, we're never 100% certain. We calculate acceptable risk." She looked at Zara. "What do you think?" Everyone turned to look at Zara, a 12-year-old girl being asked to weigh in on a decision worth $400 million and 4 human lives. Zara's mind raced through the calculations. Temperature, thermal contraction, stress factors, the aerogel's insulating properties. The margin of error. "The buffer is adequate," she said slowly, thinking it through out loud. 4 degrees might not sound like much, but in terms of thermal dynamics, it's significant. The aerogel's R value is high enough to maintain the fuel line temperature above the critical threshold, and we redistributed the weight to account for uneven insulation, which actually reduces stress points. She looked up at Elon. "I think we're safe to proceed." "You think or you know?" Elon pressed. "I know the math. I think we're safe based on that math. But..." Zara took a deep breath. "If you want to delay for extra certainty, I understand. This is your decision, not mine." Elon studied her for a long moment. Then he turned to Dr. Okonkwo. "Poll the senior engineers. I want a majority vote in the next 10 minutes. But include Zara's assessment in the information you give them." The next 10 minutes felt like 10 hours. Zara watched as Dr. Okonkwo communicated with the engineering teams. Her phone rang constantly. Data scrolled across screens. People debated in urgent whispers. Finally, Dr. Okonkwo returned. "We have consensus. 17 engineers vote to proceed. 3 vote to delay. The majority believes the safety margins are adequate." Elon nodded once. "Then we proceed. T-minus 53 minutes and counting." The observation deck fell silent except for the voice of the launch director coming through the speakers. calling out checklist items in a calm, methodical cadence. Fuel loading complete. Crew cabin pressurized. Navigation systems online. All systems nominal. At T-minus 30 minutes, Nana May took Zara's hand. Whatever happens, Mija, you did everything right. You hear me? Zara nodded, unable to speak around the lump in her throat. At T-minus 10 minutes, they could see the astronauts on the screen, secured in their seats inside the crew cabin. Commander Hartman's calm voice came through. Houston, Crew 1 is ready for launch. At T-minus 5 minutes, Zara closed her eyes and whispered a prayer her grandmother had taught her years ago. A prayer for protection, for courage, for truth. At T-minus 1 minute, the countdown became a chant. 60 seconds, 50 seconds, 40 seconds. Zara squeezed Nana May's hand so tight it probably hurt. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only count down with everyone else. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10, 9, 8. The world seemed to hold its breath. 3, 2, 1, ignition. The screen showed fire and smoke and power. The starship lifted off the pad, rising on a pillar of flame that looked like it could burn away the sky itself. The sound reached them seconds later, a deep, chest-rattling roar that made the observation deck windows vibrate. Higher and higher the spacecraft climbed, a brilliant light ascending into the blue California sky. Stage separation successful. All systems nominal. Crew reports feeling fine. Altitude 100 miles and climbing. Orbit insertion burn initiated. And then, orbit achieved. All systems are green. Crew 1 is safely in space. The observation deck erupted in cheers. People hugged each other. Some cried. Dr. Webb pumped his fist in the air. Jamie grabbed Zara and spun her around. Even Elon Musk smiled, a genuine, relieved smile. But Zara couldn't celebrate yet. The launch was only half the challenge. The real test would come in 5 days when the spacecraft returned to Earth, when it hit the atmosphere at 17,000 miles per hour, when the fuel lines would face the exact conditions she'd calculated. The 94 seconds that would prove whether she was right. Dr. Okonkwo must have seen the worry on Zara's face because she knelt down to eye level. The hard part is over, Zara. They're safe up there. The fuel line issue only affects re-entry. I know, Zara said. That's what I'm worried about. Then we have 5 days to worry together, Dr. Okonkwo said gently. But for now, we celebrate that we got them up safely. That's a victory worth acknowledging. That evening, SpaceX hosted a small gathering in the cafeteria. Nothing fancy, just pizza and soda, and tired, relieved people. Someone had made a cake that said, "Congratulations, Crew 1," in blue frosting. Zara sat with Nana May, picking at a slice of pepperoni pizza she wasn't really hungry for. People kept coming over to congratulate her, to shake her hand, to take pictures. She tried to smile, tried to be gracious, but inside she felt hollow. The astronauts were safe for now, but for now wasn't the same as safe. Around 8:00 p.m., as people started heading home, Dr. Webb approached Zara's table. "Can I sit?" Zara nodded. Dr. Webb sat down with a heavy sigh. "I owe you an apology. A real one, not just the public one I gave before. When you walked into that conference room 2 days ago, I saw a kid. I didn't see an engineer. I didn't see someone who might have an answer I missed. I saw someone who couldn't possibly know what she was talking about." "It's okay," Zara started. "No, it's not okay," Dr. Webb interrupted gently. "I've spent 30 years in this field. I've worked on some of the most important aerospace projects in history, and I almost cost 4 people their lives because I was too proud to listen to someone without credentials." He looked directly at Zara. "You taught me something important. Humility, the willingness to be wrong. Those are just as important as technical knowledge." "You helped me too," Zara said quietly, "with the thermodynamic equations. I was stuck, and you showed me another way to think about it. That's what teams do. We help each other." Dr. Webb smiled. "You're part of this team now, Zara. For real. If you want to come back, work with us, learn from us while we learn from you, the door's open." After Dr. Webb left, Zara turned to Nana May. "Can we go home, just for tonight? I want to sleep in my own bed." "Of course, Mija." The car ride back to Oakland felt surreal. Just 3 days ago, Zara had been a nobody, a kid from a small apartment who spent her afternoons at the library. Now she had helped launch astronauts into space. Their apartment building was surrounded by news vans, but security helped them slip in through a back entrance. Inside their small home, everything looked exactly the same. The worn couch, the tiny kitchen, the pictures on the wall. Zara stood in the middle of the living room, suddenly overwhelmed. All the fear, the pressure, the responsibility she'd been holding in came crashing out. She started crying, deep, shaking sobs that she couldn't control. Nana May held her, rocking her like she was little again. "Let it out, Mija. Let it all out." "What if I'm wrong?" Zara cried. "What if they die because of me?" "Then you'll grieve, and you'll learn, and you'll keep going." "But Zara, listen to me." Nana May tilted Zara's face up. "You did everything right. You used your knowledge to help people. That's all any of us can do. The rest is in God's hands." They sat together on the couch for a long time. Eventually, Zara's tears dried up. Eventually, she could breathe normally again. "Nana," she said quietly, "tell me about Mama, about her work at SpaceX. I want to know everything." And Nana May did. She told stories about Maya Chen, brilliant, passionate Maya who loved the stars and believed humanity's future was in space, who worked impossible hours perfecting life support systems because she knew lives depended on her getting it right, who died too young but left behind work that still protected astronauts years later. "She would be so proud of you," Nana May said, tears in her eyes. "Not because you're smart, she knew you'd be smart, but because you're kind, because you care about people, because you use your gifts to help others. That's who she was. That's who you are." Zara fell asleep that night clutching the American flag patch Commander Hartman had given her. In 5 days, that spacecraft would return to Earth. In 5 days, she'd know if her math was right. In 5 days, the world would know if a 12-year-old girl from Oakland could save 4 lives. But tonight, she was just Zara. Tired, scared, hopeful Zara, sleeping in her own bed. Holding on to courage like a lifeline. And sometimes that's all anyone can do. The next 5 days moved in strange time. Sometimes hours felt like minutes. Sometimes minutes felt like hours. Zara tried to go back to school on day 2. That lasted exactly 47 minutes before the principal called Nana May. Too many reporters outside. Too many students asking questions. Too much disruption. The school suggested Zara take the rest of the week off until things calmed down. So she spent her days at the library, her safe place, with Mr. Chen standing guard to keep reporters away. She studied. She read. She worked through physics problems that had nothing to do with rockets or fuel lines, anything to keep her mind busy. But every hour, she checked her phone for updates from SpaceX. The mission was going perfectly. The astronauts were healthy. All systems were functioning normally. Commander Hartman even sent a video message from space specifically for Zara. "Hey Zara," Lisa said, floating in zero gravity with Earth visible through a window behind her. "Just wanted you to know. We're doing great up here. The life support systems designed by your mom are working flawlessly. Funny how both of you are keeping us safe, isn't it? See you back on Earth in a few days." Zara watched that video 17 times. On day 3, something unexpected happened. A package arrived at Zara's apartment. Inside was a letter on official White House letterhead. "Dear Ms. Chen, I wanted to personally thank you for your contributions to the safety of America's space program. Your dedication to scientific excellence and your courage in speaking up represent the best of what young Americans can achieve. You are an inspiration to students across the nation. Sincerely, the President of the United States." "Mija, the President wrote to you," Nana May said, her voice filled with wonder. "The President!" But Zara felt strange about it. She hadn't done this for recognition. She'd done it because it was right, because people's lives mattered. All the attention, the news coverage, the letters, the social media posts, it felt uncomfortable, like wearing shoes that didn't quite fit. On day 4, Dr. Okonkwo called. "How are you holding up?" "Nervous," Zara admitted. "They come back tomorrow." "I know, listen, we want you here for the re-entry. You should see this through. And," Dr. Okonkwo paused, "the astronauts requested that you be here. Commander Hartman specifically asked for you. So on day 5, re-entry day, Zara and Nana May returned to SpaceX headquarters. The observation deck was even more crowded than launch day. More cameras, more executives, more people with worried faces. The spacecraft would hit Earth's atmosphere in 3 hours. Zara found a spot near the main screens with Jamie Torres and Dr. Webb. Everyone was trying to act normal, but the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Statistically, re-entry is the most dangerous part of any space mission, Dr. Webb said quietly. He wasn't trying to scare Zara, just stating facts. More things can go wrong. Speed, heat, angle of approach. Everything has to be exactly right. I know, Zara said. She'd studied every disaster, every close call in space history. She knew what was at stake. At T-2 hours, Elon Musk entered the observation deck. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He caught Zara's eye and nodded, a small gesture that somehow meant everything. At T-1 hour, the spacecraft's engines fired to begin the deorbit burn. The astronauts' voices crackled over the speakers, going through checklists, confirming systems, preparing. At T-30 minutes, Commander Hartman's voice came through. Houston, beginning re-entry preparations. All crew secured, all systems green. Zara's heart hammered so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Nana May took her hand. On her other side, Jamie squeezed her shoulder. At T-10 minutes, the spacecraft positioned itself for atmospheric entry. This was it. The angle had to be exactly right. 17.3 degrees, the same angle that would have caused catastrophic failure without the aerogel insulation. At T-5 minutes, communications would go dark. For several minutes during re-entry, the spacecraft would be surrounded by superheated plasma that blocked radio signals. They'd be flying blind. Communications blackout in 60 seconds, the mission controller announced. Commander Hartman's voice came through one last time. See you on the other side, Houston. And Zara, thank you. Then silence. The screen showed trajectory data, but no video, no audio. Just numbers and graphs tracking the spacecraft's descent. Somewhere above them, 4 people were hurtling toward Earth at 17,000 miles per hour, their lives depending on math done by a 12-year-old girl. The clock counted up. Blackout time, 1 minute. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. This was the window. Right now, at this exact moment, the fuel lines were experiencing the exact conditions Zara had calculated. The cold temperature, the atmospheric pressure, the stress forces. If the aerogel insulation failed, if her calculations were wrong, the fuel lines would rupture in 94 seconds, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. The observation deck was completely silent. Someone coughed. It sounded like an explosion. 6 minutes. 7 minutes. Come on, Jamie whispered beside Zara. Come on, come on, come on. 8 minutes. 9 minutes. The screens showed the spacecraft's altitude dropping. 200,000 feet, 150,000 feet, 100,000 feet. 10 minutes. We should have signal back by now, someone muttered. 11 minutes. Dr. Okonkwo's face was pale. The blackout shouldn't last this long. 12 minutes. Zara felt like her chest was being crushed. This was wrong. Something was wrong. The blackout period should have ended. They should have heard from the crew. Unless... Houston, this is Crew 1. Do you read? Commander Hartman's voice crackled through the speakers, and the entire observation deck erupted in cheers. People screamed. People cried. Dr. Webb grabbed Zara and lifted her off her feet in a bear hug. Copy that, Crew 1, the mission controller shouted, his professional composure cracking with relief. We read you loud and clear. Status report. All systems nominal, Commander Hartman replied, her voice steady and strong. Fuel lines performed perfectly. Heat shield intact. We had some extra ionization that extended blackout, but everything's green. We're coming home. Houston. The room exploded again. Zara found herself crying and laughing at the same time. Nana May was praying in Spanish, thanking God over and over. Jamie was jumping up and down. Even Elon Musk was smiling, a huge, genuine smile. Drogue chute deployed. Main parachutes deployed. Splash down in 60 seconds. On the screens, they watched the capsule drift down under its massive orange and white parachutes. Gentle, graceful, safe. Splashdown confirmed. Crew 1 is in the water. Recovery teams are en route. It was over. They'd made it. The fuel lines had held. The aerogel insulation had worked. 4 astronauts were safe. Zara had been right. The celebration in the observation deck went on for several minutes before Elon raised his hand for quiet. I want to thank everyone who made this mission possible. Our engineers, our technicians, our support teams, and especially, he looked directly at Zara, the 12-year-old who had the courage to speak up when she saw a problem and the brilliance to help us solve it. Everyone applauded. Zara felt her face burning red. But, Elon continued and his tone shifted, there's something important I need to address. Zara, can you come up here? Confused, Zara made her way to the front of the room. Her legs felt shaky. What was happening? Elon turned to address everyone. Before we celebrate too much, there's something you all need to know. Something Zara deserves to hear before it becomes public knowledge. He paused. The flaw Zara discovered wasn't completely unknown to us. A murmur ran through the crowd. 6 months ago, Elon continued, one of our engineers flagged a potential issue with the fuel line design. Dr. Richard Kowalski, many of you know him, identified that extreme conditions during re-entry could create problems. But his calculations weren't conclusive. The senior team reviewed his concerns and determined the risk was acceptable. Zara felt the room spinning slightly. Dr. Kowalski, the man who'd leaked the story, he'd known. Dr. Kowalski disagreed with that decision, Elon said. He believed we were making a mistake, but he couldn't prove it definitively. His math had gaps. His proposed conditions were too vague. Elon looked at Zara. When your letter arrived, you had succeeded where Dr. Kowalski failed. You identified the exact failure scenario. You proved the danger was real, not theoretical. Dr. Richard Kowalski stood up from where he'd been sitting in the back. He was a tall man, maybe 60 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He looked at Zara with an expression that was hard to read. I owe you an explanation, he said, his voice rough, and an apology. The room fell completely silent. When I raised concerns about the fuel line 6 months ago, I was told I was being paranoid, that my calculations were flawed, that we needed to trust the process. His voice cracked slightly. I've been an engineer for 38 years. I've worked on every major SpaceX project, and suddenly my judgment was being questioned. He walked toward the front of the room. When your letter arrived, Zara, and you proved what I couldn't, it brought everything back. The frustration, the anger, the feeling that I'd been dismissed. He stopped a few feet from Zara. So I did something inexcusable. I leaked the story to the media. I told reporters about your involvement, about the emergency fix, about everything. He swallowed hard. I wanted the company to look bad for not listening to me initially. I wanted credit for identifying the problem first. Zara didn't know what to say. She just stared at him. But watching you these past 5 days, Dr. Kowalski continued, watching how you handled the pressure, the criticism, the fear, you showed more integrity at 12 years old than I showed at 60. You didn't care about credit. You cared about saving lives. His eyes were wet now. I'm sorry for leaking the story, for putting that pressure on you, for being bitter and small when you were being brave and generous. He extended his hand. You deserve better from me, from all of us. Zara looked at his hand. Part of her was angry. He'd made everything so much harder. The media frenzy, the criticism, the doubt. But another part of her understood how it must have felt to be dismissed, to be proven right too late, to watch someone else get credit for what you tried to warn about. You tried to keep people safe, Zara said quietly. That matters. Even if the math wasn't perfect, you cared. You spoke up. That's important. She shook his hand. Then, surprising herself, she hugged him. Dr. Kowalski broke down completely, his shoulders shaking with sobs. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you. When they separated, Elon spoke again. I'm making an announcement tomorrow. Both Dr. Kowalski and Zara Chen will be credited with identifying the fuel line vulnerability. Dr. Kowalski for his initial concerns, and Zara for proving those concerns were valid and helping develop the solution. Because that's the truth. Science isn't about one person being right. It's about people building on each other's work, learning from each other, protecting each other. He paused. There's one more thing Zara needs to know. Something we discovered during our security background check. He pulled out a folder, the same one he'd shown Zara days ago. Zara, we told you your mother, Dr. Maya Chen, worked at SpaceX on life support systems. That's true. But there's more. Zara's heart started pounding. Your mother was working on the early Starship program, Elon said. Specifically, she was part of the team designing emergency protocols for fuel system failures. She was researching exactly the kind of problem you identified, what would happen if the fuel lines failed during re-entry, and how to protect the crew if that occurred. Zara couldn't breathe. What? She died before completing that research. Her notes were filed away, considered interesting but not urgent since we believed the fuel lines were safe. Elon opened the folder and pulled out pages covered in handwriting. Equations, diagrams, notes in the margins. These are your mother's research notes, Elon said softly. Look at this section. He pointed to a page. Zara looked at it, and her vision blurred with tears. Her mother's handwriting. She recognized it from old birthday cards Nana May had saved. And there in the margins was a note. Possible thermal contraction issue at extreme re-entry angles. Need to investigate titanium response to rapid temp fluctuation. She saw it, Zara whispered. 8 years ago. She saw the problem. She identified it as a potential concern, Elon said. But she died before she could research it fully. The work was never completed. Until you. He looked at Zara with something like awe. You finished what your mother started. You solved the problem she identified but didn't have time to prove. It's like, he trailed off. Like she's still protecting people, Zara finished, tears streaming down her face. Even now, through me. Nana May appeared beside Zara, pulling her into a tight embrace. Your mama would be so proud, Mija. So very proud. Why didn't you tell me before? Zara asked Elon through her tears. Why wait until now? Because you needed to know that your work stood on its own merit, Elon replied. Not because of your mother's legacy, but because of your own brilliance, your own courage, your own dedication. What you accomplished is yours, Zara. But yes, you're also carrying forward your mother's work. Both things are true. Dr. Okonkwo stepped forward. With your permission, Zara, we'd like to make your mother's research notes public, to show that science is a collaborative effort that spans generations, that great discoveries are built on the foundations others lay, that Maya Chen's work continues to save lives through her daughter. Zara looked at the pages covered in her mother's handwriting, research done 8 years ago by a woman who would never know how important her curiosity would become, who would never know her daughter would finish what she started. Yes, Zara said, share it. Let people know about her work. The room was silent for a long moment. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Then everyone, every engineer, every executive, every person in that observation deck gave Zara and her mother's memory a standing ovation that lasted for minutes. Later that evening, after most people had left, Zara sat with Nana May in a quiet corner of the cafeteria. Her phone kept buzzing with messages, but she ignored it. How do you feel? Nana May asked. Strange, Zara admitted. Like everything changed and nothing changed at the same time. Like I'm still just me, but also somehow different. You are still you, Nana May said firmly. Smart, kind, brave you. But now you know something important. You know you can make a difference. You know your voice matters. That's not a small thing, Mija. Nana, Zara said quietly, did you know about Mama's research on this exact problem? Nana May shook her head. No, Mija. I knew she worked at SpaceX. I knew she studied life support systems. But she never talked about specific projects. They were confidential. I had no idea she'd been researching the same thing you discovered. She took Zara's hand. But maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe you inherited more than just her intelligence. Maybe you inherited her instincts, her ability to see problems others miss, her dedication to protecting people. Do you think she knows? Zara asked, wherever she is? I think she knows, Nana May said, tears in her eyes. And I think she's been watching over you this whole time, guiding you, helping you find your way to this moment." They sat together in comfortable silence, watching through the windows as the sun set over the SpaceX facility. Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, 4 astronauts were being pulled from the water, safe and healthy. Somewhere, Dr. Kowalski was beginning to heal from decades of bitterness. Somewhere, reporters were writing stories about collaboration and redemption and the power of speaking truth. And here, in this quiet moment, a 12-year-old girl held the research notes of the mother she barely remembered, feeling connected across time and space by the universal language of mathematics and the eternal power of love. "What happens now?" Zara asked. "Now?" Nana May smiled. "Now you keep learning. You keep growing. You keep being exactly who you are, someone who uses their gifts to help others. The world is going to want things from you, Miha. Fame, interviews, opportunities. But you remember what matters, not the glory, the truth, the work, the people you can help. And if I get scared again, then you be scared and brave at the same time," Nana May said. "Just like you've been all along." Zara nodded, understanding. She looked at her mother's research notes one more time, then carefully placed them back in the folder. She'd keep them safe. She'd honor them by continuing the work, by asking questions, by speaking up, by caring about keeping people safe, because that's what her mother had done. That's what she would do too. And sometimes that's all anyone can do. And sometimes that's everything. The recovery ship reached shore at 11:34 p.m. By then, most of the SpaceX employees had gone home, exhausted but relieved. But Zara stayed. She had to see them, had to know they were truly safe. She stood on the dock with Nana May, Dr. Okonkwo, Jamie, Dr. Webb, and Elon Musk. The salt air was cold against her face. Waves lapped against the wooden posts beneath their feet. In the distance, lights from the recovery ship grew brighter. "You don't have to stay," Elon said to Zara. "It's late. You must be exhausted." "I need to see them," Zara replied simply. The ship pulled up to the dock. Crew members secured the lines. A ramp extended. And then, one by one, the astronauts emerged. They looked tired. Their hair was messy. They walked a bit unsteadily after 5 days in zero gravity. But they were smiling. They were alive. Commander Lisa Hartman spotted Zara immediately. She walked, almost stumbled, down the ramp and straight to where Zara stood. Without a word, she dropped to her knees so she was at Zara's eye level and pulled her into a fierce hug. "Thank you," Lisa whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Zara hugged her back, crying into Lisa's shoulder. "You're okay. You're really okay. Because of you." Lisa pulled back, her hands on Zara's shoulders. "During re-entry, when we hit the critical moment, those 94 seconds you calculated, I was holding my breath. We all were. And when we passed that point, when the fuel lines held strong, I knew your math had saved us." Dr. James Park, the botanist, came over next. He was a quiet man with kind eyes. "I have a daughter about your age," he said to Zara. "When I get home tomorrow, I'm going to tell her about you, about how being smart and brave matters more than being old or experienced." Captain Rodriguez and Specialist Chen, who did share Zara's last name by coincidence, both shook her hand and thanked her. They looked at her with respect, not like she was just a kid, but like she was an equal, a colleague who had done important work. "We brought you something," Specialist Chen said. She reached into her flight suit pocket and pulled out a small package wrapped in protective plastic. "Open it." Inside was a photograph. The 4 astronauts floating in the International Space Station, holding a sign that read, "Thank you, Zara Chen. You're our hero." "We made this on our second day in space," Lisa explained. "We wanted you to know that we never doubted you, not for a second." Zara clutched the photograph to her chest, unable to speak through her tears. The next morning, Zara woke up in the SpaceX guest room feeling different. Lighter somehow. The weight she'd been carrying for 6 days had finally lifted. The astronauts were home. Her solution had worked. It was over. Except it wasn't over, not quite. At 9:01 a.m., Dr. Okonkwo knocked on their door. "There's a press conference at 10. Elon is going to make the announcement about your mother's research and Dr. Kowalski's initial concerns." He'd like you there, but only if you're comfortable. Zara looked at Nana May, who nodded. It's your choice, Mija. I'll be there, Zara said. The press conference was held in SpaceX's main auditorium. Hundreds of reporters filled the seats. Cameras lined the back wall. The front row was reserved for special guests, the astronauts and their families, Dr. Kowalski, the senior engineering team, and Zara with Nana May. Elon took the stage first. Yesterday, Crew 1 returned safely from their mission to the International Space Station. This success was possible because of teamwork, dedication, and the courage to question our assumptions. Today, I want to tell you the full story of how we identified and fixed a critical design flaw. And I want to correct some misunderstandings about who deserves credit. He clicked a button, and a slide appeared showing Dr. Kowalski's initial report from 6 months ago. Dr. Richard Kowalski, one of our senior engineers, first identified concerns about the fuel line system. His warnings were reviewed by our team and, unfortunately, not given the weight they deserved. We made a judgment call based on incomplete information. That was a mistake. Dr. Kowalski sat very still in his seat, his face unreadable. Then, Elon continued, a letter arrived from 12-year-old Zara Chen. She had independently discovered the same vulnerability, but with much more precise calculations, she proved definitively that the problem existed and under exactly what conditions it would occur. A new slide appeared, Zara's original letter, with her careful handwriting and detailed equations. But here's what nobody knew until yesterday, Elon said, his voice softer now. Zara's mother, Dr. Maya Chen, worked at SpaceX 8 years ago. She was researching emergency protocols for fuel system failures. In her notes, which were filed away after her death, she had identified the potential for thermal contraction issues in the fuel lines. The next slide showed pages from Maya's research journal. The audience murmured with surprise. Dr. Maya Chen saw the beginning of this problem 8 years ago, Elon explained. Dr. Kowalski identified it as a concern 6 months ago. Zara Chen proved it was real and helped us solve it 6 days ago. This is how science works. Not one genius having all the answers, but people building on each other's work across time, learning from each other, protecting each other. He paused, looking directly at the cameras. So when people ask who saved Crew 1, the answer isn't simple. It was Dr. Maya Chen's curiosity. It was Dr. Kowalski's persistence. It was Zara Chen's brilliance and courage. It was our engineering team's skill. It was everyone working together, even across the barrier between life and death, even across the barrier of hurt pride, to do what mattered most. Keep people safe. The audience erupted in applause. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. Elon held up his hand for quiet. I'd like to invite 3 people to join me on stage. Dr. Richard Kowalski, Zara Chen, and Zara's grandmother, May Chen, who raised a daughter who became a brilliant scientist and a granddaughter who followed in those footsteps. Zara's heart hammered as she walked up to the stage. The lights were so bright, so many people watching. But Nana May held her hand on one side, and Dr. Kowalski walked on her other side, and somehow that made it bearable. On stage, Elon gestured to 3 chairs. They sat. Zara felt tiny in the big chair, her feet barely touching the ground. I'm going to take questions, Elon announced, but I have some ground rules. You may ask about the technical aspects of the discovery and the solution. You may ask about collaboration and teamwork. You may not ask invasive personal questions. Zara is 12 years old. She's done something remarkable, but she's still a kid who deserves respect and privacy. A reporter from the New York Times raised her hand. Dr. Kowalski, how do you feel about a 12-year-old succeeding where your initial warnings failed? Dr. Kowalski took a deep breath. Embarrassed at first, hurt, angry at myself for not being able to prove what I suspected. But now, he looked at Zara. Now I'm grateful. Grateful she saw what I tried to see. Grateful she had the courage I lost somewhere along the way. And grateful for her generosity in sharing credit when she didn't have to. Zara, another reporter called out, what made you think you could challenge SpaceX's engineering team? Zara leaned toward her microphone. Her voice was quiet but steady. I didn't think about challenging anyone. I just saw something that worried me. I thought maybe I was wrong. I hoped I was wrong. But I had to tell someone, just in case. because lives mattered more than me being embarrassed. What will you do now? Someone else asked. Will you work for SpaceX? Go to college early? Zara glanced at Nana May, who smiled encouragingly. Right now, I'm going back to school. I have homework I missed. I have friends I want to see. I want to keep learning. At the library, online, everywhere I can. Maybe someday I'll work in aerospace engineering. Maybe I'll do something else. But right now, I just want to be 12. The press conference lasted another hour. Questions about the technical solution, about SpaceX's safety protocols, about how companies can better listen to warnings from any source, no matter how unexpected. Finally, Elon wrapped it up. One last thing. SpaceX is announcing 2 new initiatives today. First, the Maya Chen Memorial Fellowship, a full scholarship program for students from low-income backgrounds who show exceptional aptitude in STEM fields. We'll be funding 50 students per year, covering tuition, living expenses, and research opportunities. Zara felt tears spring to her eyes. 50 students. 50 kids like her who love science but couldn't afford the fancy schools or expensive equipment. Second, Elon continued, we're creating an open submission portal where anyone of any age, any background, any level of formal education can submit concerns or ideas about our projects. Every submission will be reviewed by senior engineers. We will never again dismiss a warning just because the source seems unlikely. The audience applauded. Reporters typed furiously on their laptops. As they left the stage, a woman in a business suit approached. Mrs. Chen, Zara, I'm Rebecca Harrison from the National Science Foundation. We'd love to talk about some opportunities for Zara, educational programs, mentorship, research grants. That's very kind, Nana May said firmly, but Zara needs time to rest, to be a kid, to process everything that's happened. Perhaps we can discuss this in a few months? Of course, Ms. Harrison said quickly. Here's my card. No pressure. Whenever you're ready. Over the next few hours, similar conversations happened again and again. Universities offering scholarships, companies offering internships, television shows requesting interviews, publishers wanting to write books about her story. Each time, Nana May politely but firmly created space. Later, give her time. She's still a child. By early afternoon, Zara was exhausted, not physically tired, emotionally drained. She found a quiet corner in the cafeteria and sat with her notebook, working through a calculus problem that had nothing to do with rockets or fame or pressure, just pure math, clean and simple and comforting. Jamie Torres found her there. Hey, how are you holding up? Overwhelmed, Zara admitted. Everyone wants something from me. Interviews, appearances, endorsements. It's too much. Yeah, I figured it might be. Jamie sat down across from her. Can I give you some advice from someone who was called a young genius when I joined SpaceX at 22? Zara nodded. Don't let them make you into a symbol, Jamie said seriously. You're a real person with real limits. You need to play and rest and make mistakes and learn at your own pace. The world is going to want to put you on a pedestal or turn you into an inspiration poster. But you get to decide who you are and what you want. Nobody else. How do I do that? How do I say no to everyone? You don't have to say no to everything, just to the things that don't serve you. Ask yourself, does this opportunity help me learn? Does it help me grow? Does it make me happy? If the answer is no, then you can say no, even to big, impressive opportunities. Jamie smiled. You just saved 4 lives and helped solve one of the hardest problems in aerospace engineering. You've earned the right to rest. That evening, Zara and Nana May finally went home. Their apartment felt smaller than she remembered, but also more precious. This was where she'd done her homework at the kitchen table, where Nana May had told her stories, where she'd spent nights dreaming about the stars. Mija, there's something I need to give you, Nana May said. She went to her bedroom and returned with a small wooden box. I've been saving this, waiting for the right time. I think now is the right time. Inside the box were letters, dozens of them, in envelopes yellowed with age. Your mama wrote these, Nana May explained, when she was pregnant with you. Letters to her future daughter. She wanted you to know her. Even if, her voice caught, even if she wasn't here to tell you herself. Zara picked up the first letter with shaking hands. The envelope was addressed, "To my daughter on her first day of school." "There's one for different milestones," Nana May said. "First day of school, 10th birthday, first heartbreak, high school graduation, and this one," she pulled out a specific envelope. "This one says, 'When you discover you love science as much as I do.'" Zara opened it carefully. Her mother's handwriting, the same handwriting from the research notes, filled 3 pages. "My dearest daughter, if you're reading this, it means you've fallen in love with understanding how the world works. Maybe it's biology or chemistry or physics or mathematics. It doesn't matter which. What matters is that beautiful curiosity that makes you ask why and how and what if. I want you to know something important. Being smart is not the same as being worthy. Your worth comes from who you are, not what you can do. Your worth comes from your kindness, your courage, your willingness to help others. Science is a powerful tool. Use it to make the world better. Use it to protect people. Use it to ask questions others are afraid to ask, but never use it to make yourself feel superior or to push others down. And when you make mistakes, because you will make mistakes, everyone does, be brave enough to admit them. Be humble enough to learn from them. Be generous enough to help others avoid them. I'm so proud of you, my daughter. Not because of your intelligence, but because of your heart. Keep asking questions. Keep caring about people. Keep being exactly who you are. All my love across time and space." Mama Zara read it 3 times, tears streaming down her face. Her mother had written this before Zara was even born, before she knew what her daughter would be like. But somehow she'd known exactly what Zara would need to hear. "She knew me," Zara whispered. "Even though we never really met, she knew me." "Because you are so much like her," Nana May said, crying too. "So much her daughter." They sat together on the couch, Zara reading through more letters, while Nana May told stories about Maya, about her laugh, her stubbornness, her terrible cooking, her beautiful singing voice, her habit of staying up until 3 a.m. working on problems she couldn't solve, her deep, unshakable belief that science could make the world better. "She would have loved seeing what you did," Nana May said. "Not just the solving the problem part, but the way you handled everything after, the way you shared credit, the way you stood up under pressure, the way you stayed kind even when people were cruel. That's her legacy, Mija. Not just the science, the heart behind it." Late that night after Nana May had gone to bed, Zara sat at the kitchen table with her notebook. She wrote a letter of her own, not to anyone specific, just to the universe, to her mother, to herself. "Dear future me, today was strange and wonderful and terrifying. Today I learned that I can do hard things, that my voice matters, that asking questions is brave, that admitting what you don't know is just as important as showing what you do know. Today I learned that the best science is collaborative, that it spans generations, that it requires humility and courage in equal measure. Today I learned that being smart is a gift, but being kind is a choice, and the choice matters more. I don't know what happens next. Tomorrow I go back to school, back to homework and lunch periods and being just another kid. Except I'm not just another kid anymore. I'm the kid who helped save astronauts, and I don't know how to be both things at once, normal and changed. But maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't have to figure it all out right now. Maybe I can just take it one day at a time, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep caring about people, keep being exactly who I am." Mama said in her letter that my worth comes from my heart, not my brain. I want to remember that. When people expect things from me, when they want me to be exceptional all the time, when they forget I'm still just 12, I did something important, but I'm still me, still scared sometimes, still learning, still growing, and that's okay. That's exactly as it should be. Love, Zara, age 12. She closed her notebook and looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the International Space Station was orbiting Earth. Commander Hartman and the crew were probably asleep, safe and sound. Her mother's life support systems keeping them alive. Her own fuel line solution keeping them safe. 2 generations of Chen women, protecting astronauts across time. Zara smiled. Tomorrow she'd go back to being a regular kid. She'd deal with homework and teachers and classmates who would either worship her or resent her. She'd navigate a world that suddenly saw her differently than she saw herself. But tonight, in this quiet moment, she was just Zara. Smart, scared, brave Zara. Sitting at her grandmother's kitchen table, holding her mother's letters, surrounded by love that stretched across the boundary between life and death. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Monday morning arrived too quickly. Zara stood in front of her bedroom mirror, wearing her regular jeans and her favorite purple hoodie, the one with a small hole in the left pocket. She looked exactly the same as she had 2 weeks ago. But everything was different. "Ready, mija?" Nana May called from the kitchen. "No," Zara answered honestly, but she grabbed her backpack anyway. The plan was simple. Nana May would drive her to school, drop her off at the side entrance to avoid reporters, and Zara would slip into her first period class like nothing had happened. Just a normal Monday for a normal kid. Except when they turned onto the street leading to Oakland Middle School, they saw the news vans. At least 15 of them, parked along both sides of the street. Reporters with cameras and microphones clustered near the front entrance. "Ay, Dios mío," Nana May muttered. They promised they wouldn't do this. Principal Martinez had sent an email yesterday assuring them that the school would be a media-free zone, that reporters wouldn't be allowed on campus, but apparently no one could stop them from waiting outside. Nana May drove past the front entrance to the side door near the gym. Only 3 reporters there. Better, but not great. "Want me to come in with you?" Nana May asked. Zara thought about it. Part of her desperately wanted Nana May beside her. But another part knew she had to do this alone. She couldn't have her grandmother protecting her forever. "I'll be okay," Zara said, trying to sound braver than she felt. She got out of the car. Immediately, the 3 reporters rushed over, shouting questions. "Zara, how does it feel to be back at school? Are you worried about falling behind in your classes? Is it true SpaceX offered you a job?" Zara kept her head down and walked faster. A security guard, Mr. Patterson, who usually just checked hall passes, stepped between her and the reporters. "Back up," he said firmly. "This is school property. You need to leave." Zara slipped through the door gratefully. Inside, the hallway was mostly empty. First period started in 5 minutes. She headed toward her locker, hoping to grab her books quickly and get to class before... "Zara!" Too late. Her best friend Keisha Williams came running down the hallway, her braids bouncing behind her. She crashed into Zara with a huge hug. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you saved astronauts! You were on TV! You met Elon Musk!" Keisha was talking so fast the words ran together. "I texted you like 100 times. Why didn't you answer?" "My phone was off," Zara said. "There were too many messages. I couldn't..." "You're famous. Do you know how famous you are? Everyone's talking about you, not just here, everywhere. My cousin in Texas saw you on the news. My aunt in Atlanta sent me a screenshot of you from CNN. Keisha grabbed Zara's shoulders. "This is insane. You're insane. In the best way." Other students started arriving, filling the hallways. Zara saw heads turn, people pointing, whispering. Some smiled and waved. Others stared like she was an alien. A group of 8th grade boys she didn't know gave her a round of applause as they walked past. "See?" Keisha said, grinning. "You're a celebrity." But Zara didn't feel like a celebrity. She felt exposed, like everyone was looking at her, judging her, expecting things from her that she didn't know how to give. She got her books from her locker and headed to first period, English with Mrs. Rodriguez, the teacher who hadn't believed her calculations 2 weeks ago. Mrs. Rodriguez was writing on the whiteboard when Zara walked in. She turned around and her face lit up. "Zara, welcome back!" Then to Zara's horror, Mrs. Rodriguez started clapping. The other students, about half of them already in their seats, joined in. Applause filled the classroom. Some kids whooped and cheered. Marcus Johnson, who'd laughed at her, was clapping the loudest. Zara's face burned red. She wanted to disappear into the floor. "We're so proud of you," Mrs. Rodriguez said warmly. "What you accomplished is truly remarkable. We'd love to hear about your experience if you're willing to share." Maybe later," Zara managed. "Can I just sit down?" Of course. Mrs. Rodriguez gestured to Zara's usual seat in the third row. But as class started, Zara realized concentrating was impossible. Everyone kept sneaking glances at her. During the discussion of their current book, something about a kid surviving in the wilderness, Marcus raised his hand. Mrs. Rodriguez, this book is pretty boring compared to what Zara just did. Can we talk about that instead? Several students agreed enthusiastically. Mrs. Rodriguez looked uncertain. Well, we do need to cover the curriculum, but I suppose we could spend a few minutes. I'd rather not, Zara said quickly. Please, can we just do normal class? Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. Of course. Let's continue with chapter 12. But the attention didn't stop. In second period math, Mr. Browning asked Zara to come to the front and explain the kind of advanced calculations you used at SpaceX to the class. In third period history, Ms. Parker wanted to discuss how young people throughout history have made important contributions to society, just like Zara. By lunch, Zara felt exhausted. She grabbed her lunch. Nana May had packed her favorite, rice and beans with chicken, and looked for somewhere quiet to sit. The cafeteria fell silent when she walked in. Hundreds of students stared at her. Then someone started clapping again. And suddenly the whole cafeteria was applauding. Whistles, cheers, chants of, Zara, Zara, Zara. Zara wanted to cry. This was supposed to be her normal life, her safe place. But nothing was normal anymore. Keisha appeared at her elbow. Come on, let's go outside. They found a spot under a tree in the courtyard, away from most of the crowds. Zara ate her lunch in silence while Keisha talked about everything that had happened at school while Zara was gone. Normal things. Drama about who was dating who, a pop quiz in science, the upcoming spring dance. Thanks, Zara said after a while. For what? For not making everything about SpaceX. For just being normal. Keisha smiled. You're still my best friend. I don't care if you're famous or not. Though it is pretty cool that my best friend is literally a genius who saved people in space. I'm not a genius, Zara protested. Yeah, you just worked hard and cared about people and did complex math that PhD engineers couldn't figure out. Totally normal. Keisha bumped her shoulder playfully. Zara, it's okay to be proud of what you did. You don't have to make yourself small. Before Zara could respond, 3 girls from her grade approached. Sarah, Jennifer, and Alicia, the popular girls who usually ignored Zara completely. Hi, Zara, Sarah said with a bright smile. We were wondering if you wanted to sit with us at lunch. We saved you a spot. Zara blinked in surprise. I'm sitting here with Keisha. She can come too, Jennifer added quickly. We just thought, since you're kind of a big deal now, you might want to sit with us. We're planning the spring dance and we thought maybe you could be on the committee. It would be really cool to have someone famous involved. Ah, there it was. They didn't actually care about Zara. They cared about her fame, about what she could do for them. Thanks, but I'm good here, Zara said firmly. The girls looked disappointed. Okay, well, if you change your mind. They walked away whispering to each other. Wow, Keisha said. Sarah Peterson just tried to be your friend? That's wild. She doesn't want to be my friend, Zara said quietly. She wants to be friends with Zara Chen, the famous girl. That's different. The rest of the day was more of the same. Some students were genuinely kind and congratulatory. Others wanted something from her, attention, association, a piece of her fame. A few seemed resentful, like she'd somehow gotten something that should have been theirs. In 8th period science, Tyler Jackson, the boy who'd bullied her about the astronauts potentially dying, approached her desk before class started. Hey, Zara, he said, not meeting her eyes. I wanted to say, I'm sorry for what I said before about it being your fault if they died. That was messed up. Zara looked at him, surprised. Tyler had never apologized for anything in his life. It's okay, she said. No, it's not okay. I was being a jerk. He shifted uncomfortably. I guess I was jealous. You're really smart and I'm not. And instead of being happy for you, I tried to make you feel bad. That says more about me than you. You're not dumb, Tyler. You're just interested in different things. That's okay. Yeah, well, I'm trying to be better. And I just wanted you to know I'm glad you were right about the fuel lines and everything. He paused. Also, I'm studying engineering now. Because of you. Figured if you can do it, maybe I can try. After Tyler left, Keisha leaned over. Did Tyler Jackson just apologize and say something nice? Are we in an alternate universe? Zara smiled. Maybe some good was coming from all this attention after all. After school, Zara walked to the library, her safe place. Mr. Chen was at the front desk, and his face broke into a huge smile when he saw her. There's my favorite patron. Come here. He came around the desk and hugged her. I've been following everything on the news. You did it, Zara. You really did it. I missed this place, Zara admitted. School was overwhelming. I imagine so. Everyone wanting a piece of you? Mr. Chen nodded knowingly. Fame is a strange thing. It changes how people see you, even when you haven't changed at all. How do I deal with it? Zara asked. Everyone expecting things from me all the time? Mr. Chen thought for a moment. You remember why you come here? To the library? To learn, to read, to be curious. Exactly. Not for attention or fame or recognition, for the joy of discovery itself. He gestured around at the shelves of books. That's your anchor, Zara. When the world gets too loud, come back to what made you fall in love with learning in the first place. Come back to curiosity. Come back to questions. Zara spent 2 hours at her usual corner table, working through physics problems that had nothing to do with rockets. Just pure learning, pure curiosity. The noise in her head finally quieted. When she got home, Nana May was cooking dinner, her special enchiladas. How was school? Nana May asked. Strange. Everyone treating me different. Some people being really nice. Some people wanting to use me for my fame. Some people seeming angry that I got attention. Zara sat at the kitchen table. I don't think I like being famous, Nana. Then don't be famous, Nana May said simply. What do you mean? I can't just stop being famous. You can decide what kind of famous you want to be. Some people chase fame. They do interviews, they stay in the spotlight. They make fame their life. Others just do their work and let the fame be background noise. Nana May stirred the enchilada sauce. You get to choose, mija. You can do more interviews and appearances if you want. Or you can say no to most of it and just focus on being 12, on learning and growing and living your life. What if people forget about me if I don't stay in the spotlight? Then they forget. So what? Nana May turned to face her. You didn't do what you did for fame. You did it because it was right, because you cared about keeping people safe. That doesn't change whether people remember your name or not. Zara thought about that. It was true, she hadn't written that letter to Elon Musk hoping to become famous. She'd written it because she was worried, because the math scared her, because lives mattered. I want to just be me, Zara said. Is that okay? To not want to be Zara Chen, the famous genius? More than okay, mija. It's perfect. Nana May came over and kissed the top of her head. You be exactly who you are. Let everyone else figure out how to deal with it. That night, Zara's phone buzzed with a video call. Dr. Okonkwo's face appeared on screen. Hey Zara, how was your first day back? Weird, Zara admitted. Everyone was either super excited or super weird about me being there. I don't think school is going to be normal for a while. Probably not, Dr. Okonkwo agreed. Listen, I wanted to check in. There are some opportunities I wanted to run by you and your grandmother. NASA is hosting a STEM conference next month, and they'd love for you to speak. There's also a documentary crew that wants to interview you, and several universities have reached out about summer programs. Zara felt that familiar pressure building in her chest again. I don't know if I want to do all that. You don't have to, Dr. Okonkwo said quickly. I'm not pushing. I just wanted you to know the options exist. But Zara, it's completely okay to say no, to most of it or to all of it. You did something amazing, but that doesn't mean you owe the world your entire life. Really, you won't be disappointed if I say no? Not even a little bit. You're 12. You should be thinking about school dances and sleepovers and what books you want to read, not managing a public image. Dr. Okonkwo smiled warmly. Whatever you decide, I support you. We all do. After the call ended, Zara talked with Nana May about the opportunities. They decided together Zara would do the NASA STEM conference. because talking to other kids who love science sounded genuinely fun. She'd do one documentary interview because telling her mother's story felt important, but she'd say no to most other requests. No talk show appearances. No book deals, no constant interviews. She'd be Zara Chen, 12-year-old student who loved math and science. Not Zara Chen, celebrity genius. Over the next week, life started finding a new rhythm. School remained weird, people still stared, still wanted to talk about SpaceX. But gradually it got better. Classes returned to normal. Teachers stopped asking her to share her experiences. Students got used to having a famous person in their halls. Keisha remained her best friend. Tyler Jackson said hi to her now, which was strange but nice. The popular girls stopped trying to recruit her once they realized she wasn't interested in their world. And every afternoon, Zara went to the library. Her corner table, her books, her safe place where she was just another curious kid asking questions about how the universe worked. One Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks after returning to school, Zara was working through a particularly challenging calculus problem when someone sat down across from her. She looked up, expecting Mr. Chen. Instead, she saw a girl about her age with thick glasses and messy brown hair, holding a physics textbook. "Hi," the girl said nervously. "I'm Emma. I'm in 6th grade. I saw you on TV about the SpaceX thing." "Oh," Zara said, bracing herself for whatever was coming. Excitement, questions, requests for selfies. "I just wanted to say thank you," Emma continued quietly. "Not for saving the astronauts. I mean, that's amazing and everything. But thank you for showing that it's okay to be the smart girl. That it's okay to love science and math and spend your afternoons at the library doing extra work." Emma's voice got even quieter. "Kids at my school make fun of me. They call me nerd and teacher's pet and say I'm trying too hard. They say girls aren't supposed to be good at math. But then I saw you on TV and I thought, if she can be smart and brave and still be herself, maybe I can too." Zara felt tears prick her eyes. This was what mattered. Not the fame or the interviews or the recognition, but this 11-year-old girl finding courage to be herself. "What are you working on?" Zara asked, gesturing to Emma's textbook. "Momentum and inertia. It's not for school. I just think it's interesting." "Can I show you something cool about inertia?" Zara asked. "There's this thought experiment about what happens in space when..." They spent the next hour talking physics. Emma asked questions. Zara tried to answer them, and when she didn't know something, they looked it up together. Mr. Chen brought them cookies and smiled at them like they were the most important people in the world. This, Zara thought, was what she wanted her life to be. Not spotlight interviews or fame or pressure. Just 2 kids at a library table, curious about the universe, helping each other understand it better. When Emma left, she hugged Zara. "Thank you for being you." "Thank you," Zara replied, "for reminding me why I love this." That night, as Zara lay in bed, she thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the pressure, the success, the fame, the strange new world she was navigating. She thought about her mother, whose research had started this journey. About Dr. Kowalski, who'd tried to warn people but hadn't been heard. About Commander Hartman and the crew, safe because people had worked together. About Nana May, who'd raised 2 generations of curious women. And she thought about Emma, working through physics problems at the library because she loved it, not because anyone was watching. That's what it was really about. Not the saving astronauts part. That was important, but it was one moment. The real story was about curiosity, about speaking up, about using knowledge to help people, about staying true to yourself even when the world tries to turn you into something else. Zara pulled out her notebook and wrote one more letter. "Dear Mama, I'm learning what it means to carry your legacy. It's not just about being smart or solving problems. It's about using those gifts with kindness, about sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it, about lifting others up instead of making yourself feel superior. Today I helped a 6th grader understand inertia. It's not as dramatic as saving astronauts, but I think maybe it matters just as much. Because that girl will go on to help others, and they'll help others. And your legacy, our legacy, will spread not through fame, but through curiosity and kindness. I'm still figuring out who I am, still learning how to be both normal and changed, still trying to find balance between the expectations and my own truth. But I'm doing it, one day at a time, one question at a time, one small act of kindness at a time. I hope that makes you proud. Love, your daughter. She closed the notebook, turned off the light, and fell asleep thinking not about rockets or fame or pressure, but about Emma's smile when she'd finally understood conservation of momentum. And that was everything. Zara Chen sat in a lecture hall at Stanford University, feeling very small. The room was huge, 3 times the size of her entire apartment. Around her sat 200 undergraduate students, most of them at least 18 years old. They wore college sweatshirts and typed on expensive laptops. They looked confident. They looked like they belonged here. Zara was 13 now. She was wearing her nicest jeans and the purple hoodie she'd worn on her first day back at school. She clutched her worn notebook to her chest and tried to remember how to breathe. "You okay?" Dr. Okonkwo whispered beside her. She'd flown up from Los Angeles just for this. "Terrified," Zara admitted. "Good, that means you care." Dr. Okonkwo squeezed her shoulder. "You've got this." The professor, Dr. Michael Chen, no relation, approached the podium. He was young for a professor, maybe 35, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Good morning, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. Most of you probably recognize her name from the news coverage 6 months ago. She identified a critical flaw in SpaceX's Starship design, helped develop the solution, and ultimately contributed to the safe return of 4 astronauts. He gestured to Zara. "Please welcome Zara Chen, who's graciously agreed to share her experience with us today." The room erupted in applause. Zara walked to the front on shaky legs. She stood at the podium and looked out at 200 faces, college students, people twice her age, people who were probably way smarter than she was. Her hands were sweating, her voice caught in her throat. For a moment, she couldn't remember a single word she'd planned to say. Then she saw it. In the 3rd row, a girl about 19 years old was holding a sign. "You inspired me to switch my major to aerospace engineering. Thank you." Zara took a deep breath. "Hi, I'm Zara. I'm 13 years old, which probably seems really young to be standing here. It feels really young from this side, too." A few people laughed. The tension in Zara's chest loosened slightly. 6 months ago, I was just a kid who spent her afternoons at the public library because we couldn't afford internet at home. I loved space. I loved math. I loved asking questions about how things worked. That was it. I wasn't special or chosen or destined for anything. I was just curious. She pulled up the first slide, a picture of her corner table at the Oakland Public Library. "This is where I taught myself aerospace engineering, from old textbooks and free online lectures. Nobody was watching, nobody was grading my work. I did it because I loved it, because understanding how rockets work made me happy." She clicked to the next slide, her original letter to Elon Musk, with her careful handwriting and hand-drawn diagrams. "When I found what I thought was a problem with the Starship design, I almost didn't tell anyone. Because who was I? A 12-year-old kid. Why would anyone listen to me?" Zara paused. "But then I thought about the astronauts, about their families, and I realized that whether anyone listened or not, I had to try, because staying quiet would have meant choosing my comfort over their safety." For the next 45 minutes, Zara walked the class through her discovery, the calculations, the fear, the pressure, the collaboration with SpaceX's engineering team. She showed them the technical work, the equations, the stress analysis, the aerogel solution, but she also showed them the human part, the mistakes, the uncertainty, the moments when she wanted to give up. "People call me a genius," Zara said toward the end, "but I'm not. I just really love space, and I was willing to work hard to understand it. Genius makes it sound like everything comes easy, like I'm somehow different from you. But I'm not. I struggle. I make mistakes. I spend hours confused before things click." She clicked to her final slide, a picture of her with Commander Hartman and the crew, taken 2 weeks ago when Zara had visited Houston. The real lesson isn't about math or engineering. It's about courage. It's about speaking up when you see something wrong, even when you're scared. It's about being willing to be wrong in public because the possibility of being right matters more. She looked out at the audience. Every single person in this room has something valuable to contribute. Your age doesn't matter. Your background doesn't matter. What matters is whether you're brave enough to share what you know, even when the world tells you to stay quiet. The room was completely silent. Thank you for listening, Zara finished quietly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one person started clapping, then another. Then the entire auditorium was on its feet, giving Zara a standing ovation that lasted for 2 full minutes. The girl with the sign was crying. After the lecture, Zara sat in Dr. Michael Chen's office, eating cookies he'd brought from the campus cafe. Dr. Okonkwo sat beside her, beaming with pride. "That was incredible, Zara," Professor Chen said. "Truly, I've been teaching aerospace engineering for 8 years, and that was one of the best guest lectures I've ever hosted." "Really?" Zara asked. "I felt like I was rambling. You were honest. You were vulnerable. You made complex concepts accessible. Those students will remember this for the rest of their lives." He leaned forward. "Have you thought about your future? About college?" "I'm 13, Zara reminded him. "I have 5 years before I need to think about college." "True, but universities are already interested. MIT reached out to me last week asking about early admission programs for you. Caltech called the week before that. Stanford would love to have you here when you're ready." Zara felt that familiar pressure building in her chest. Expectations. Opportunities that felt more like obligations. The weight of everyone wanting her to be exceptional all the time. Dr. Okonkwo must have seen something in Zara's face because she spoke up. "With all respect, Professor, I think what Zara needs right now isn't college offers. It's space to be 13, to learn at her own pace, to figure out what she wants, not what everyone else wants for her." Of course, Professor Chen said quickly. "I didn't mean to pressure. I just wanted you to know the doors are open, Zara, whenever you're ready. No rush." That evening, back in Oakland, Zara and Nana May sat at their kitchen table eating the birthday cake Nana had made. Chocolate with vanilla frosting, Zara's favorite. 13 candles flickered in the dim light. "Make a wish, Miha," Nana May said. Zara closed her eyes. 6 months ago, she would have wished to save the astronauts, but they were saved. They were home with their families. That wish had already come true. So what did she wish for now? "I wish for the courage to keep being myself," she thought, "no matter how much the world tries to change me." She blew out the candles in one breath. Nana May clapped and cut the cake. "Did you enjoy today?" Nana May asked, handing Zara a large piece. "Yes and no," Zara admitted. "I love sharing my story. I love seeing how it inspired those students." But afterward, when Professor Chen started talking about early admission in MIT and Caltech, I felt trapped. Like everyone's already decided my future, and I don't get a say. "So what do you want?" Nana May asked. "If you could have anything, what would your future look like?" Zara thought about it. "I want to keep learning. I want to go to college eventually, but when I'm ready, I want to work in aerospace engineering someday. Maybe at SpaceX, maybe at NASA, maybe somewhere else. But right now," she looked at Nana May, "right now I want to be 13. I want to go to school with Keisha. I want to spend afternoons at the library. I want to help kids like Emma learn to love science. I want to bake cookies with you on Sunday mornings. I want my life to be normal, not a race towards someone else's expectations." "Then that's what you'll do," Nana May said firmly. "We'll say no to the pressure. We'll say yes to what feeds your soul. And anyone who doesn't like it can deal with me." Zara laughed. Nana May was barely 5 feet tall and 63 years old, but she was fierce when she needed to be. "Thank you, Nana, for always protecting me. For letting me be myself. That's what family does, Miha." The next week, something unexpected arrived in the mail. A thick envelope with a return address from Texas. Inside was a letter from Commander Lisa Hartman. "Dear Zara, I hope this letter finds you well. It's been 6 months since our mission, and I wanted to update you on something important. My daughter Emma, remember she's 9 now, has started a science club at her elementary school. She calls it the Zara Chen Young Scientist Club. 23 kids meet every Tuesday afternoon to do experiments, ask questions, and learn about space and engineering. Emma tells everyone that you inspired her, that if a 12-year-old can save astronauts, then anyone can do amazing things if they work hard and stay curious. I'm writing to say thank you. Not just for saving my life, though I'll never stop being grateful for that, but for showing my daughter what's possible, for being a role model who's brilliant and kind, who's accomplished and humble, who's famous and still herself. You've changed more than just our mission. You've changed how my daughter sees herself and her future. I suspect you've done the same for thousands of other kids around the world. That's your real legacy, Zara. Not the engineering solution, not the awards or recognition, but the way you've inspired the next generation to be brave, curious, and kind. Thank you for being exactly who you are. With gratitude and admiration, Commander Lisa Hartman, P.S. Emma wanted me to include this drawing she made of you. She says you're her hero. Attached to the letter was a crayon drawing of Zara standing next to a rocket, with stars all around and the words, "Thank you for saving my mommy," written in purple crayon at the bottom. Zara sat at the kitchen table and cried, happy tears this time, because this was what mattered. Not the college offers or the fame or the pressure, but knowing that somewhere in Texas, a 9-year-old girl was running a science club because she'd been inspired to be brave. That evening, Zara walked to the library for her regular Tuesday session. But today was special. Today was the first meeting of what Mr. Chen had officially named Zara's Science Circle. 12 kids, ranging from 6th grade to 8th grade, sat around 3 tables pushed together in the corner of the library. Emma, the girl Zara had helped 6 months ago, was there. So was Tyler Jackson, who'd apologized and started studying engineering. A few kids Zara didn't know, a few she recognized from school. "Hi, everyone," Zara said, suddenly nervous again. Leading a science club felt almost as scary as presenting at Stanford. "Thanks for coming. I wanted to create a space where kids who love science and math could work together, where we can ask questions and help each other figure out answers, where it's okay to be confused or wrong or stuck." "Are you going to teach us how to save astronauts?" one 6th grader asked excitedly. Zara laughed. "Maybe eventually, but today I thought we could start with something fun. How many of you have ever built a paper rocket?" Hands shot up, about half the group. "Okay, so today we're going to build paper rockets and launch them with compressed air. But here's the challenge. We're going to calculate the optimal launch angle to get maximum distance. We'll do the math first, then test our predictions. Science is about making predictions and testing them, not just memorizing facts." For the next 2 hours, the library corner was filled with the sounds of kids working together, calculating angles, building rockets, testing designs, arguing good-naturedly about whose method was better, celebrating when predictions matched reality. Mr. Chen brought them all cookies halfway through and whispered to Zara, "This is beautiful. Your mama would be so proud." At the end of the session, Tyler approached Zara. "Hey, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "How did you know you wanted to study aerospace engineering? Like, how did you pick that specific thing?" Zara thought about it. "I didn't really pick it. It picked me. I saw a video of a rocket launch when I was 9, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Couldn't stop asking questions about how it worked. I had to understand it. That's how you know you found your thing. You can't not think about it." "I think maybe robotics is my thing," Tyler said. "I've been watching videos about building robots, and I stay up way too late because I'm so interested." "Then that's your thing," Zara said. "Follow that curiosity. See where it leads you." As kids left the library, several thanked Zara. Emma hugged her and whispered, "This was the best day ever." Walking home with Nana May, who'd come to pick her up, Zara felt lighter than she had in months. No pressure, no expectations, just sharing what she loved with kids who loved it too. "You found your way," Nana May observed. "What do you mean?" 6 months ago, you were overwhelmed by all the attention, all the opportunities, all the people wanting pieces of you. You didn't know how to be both famous and normal. But now?" Nana May smiled. "Now you've figured it out. You're saying yes to what matters, teaching, sharing, inspiring, and saying no to what doesn't serve you. You're being exactly who you are, on your own terms." "I learned from the best," Zara said, taking Nana May's hand. That night, Zara video called Dr. Okonkwo to tell her about the science club. "That's wonderful," Dr. Okonkwo said. "You know what? I'd love to do something similar. Maybe I could start a program at SpaceX, bringing in kids from underserved communities for tours and workshops. Would you help me design the curriculum?" "Really, you want my help?" "Zara, you're better at explaining complex concepts to young people than most of my PhD engineers. Of course I want your help." They spent an hour planning a 6-week summer program, hands-on workshops, tours of the facility, mentorship from SpaceX engineers, and at the center of it all, curiosity, making space exploration accessible to kids who thought it was only for rich people or geniuses. After the call ended, Zara realized something. She'd been thinking about her future as something that would happen later, after high school, after college, after she became an adult. But her future was already happening, right now, in science clubs and summer programs, in letters to 9-year-olds and lectures to college students, in choosing kindness over fame, in staying true to herself even when the world wanted her to be something else. She pulled out her notebook, the same worn one she'd used to calculate the fuel line problem, and started a new page. 5-year plan, she wrote at the top. Not because anyone was pressuring her, but because she wanted to, because she'd found something worth planning for. Age 13 to 14, keep doing well in school, run science circle at library, help Dr. O with SpaceX summer program, learn more advanced calculus, stay connected to Keisha and school friends, have fun, be 13, age 15 to 16, start thinking about high school, maybe dual enroll in community college for advanced math, continue science circle, explore other areas of STEM, not just aerospace, have fun, be a teenager. Age 17, 18, apply to colleges when I'm ready. Keep learning, keep teaching, keep being myself. Long-term dreams, work in aerospace engineering, design systems that keep astronauts safe, continue mama's legacy, inspire kids who think they're not smart enough. Never forget that kindness matters more than genius. She looked at what she'd written. It wasn't a rigid plan, more like a direction, a way forward that felt true to who she was and who she wanted to become. Her phone buzzed. A text from Keisha. "Spring dance is in 3 weeks. We need to shop for dresses. Also, I need help with my math homework." LAL, Zara smiled and texted back. "Yes to dresses, yes to homework help. Sleep over this weekend?" "Obviously. Bring your science notes, though. My mom wants me to do that stupid project. I'll help you. But only if you help me figure out what to do with my hair for the dance deal." Zara set down her phone and looked around her small room. The walls were covered with posters of rockets and planets. Her shelves held textbooks and notebooks and the photograph from space, the astronauts holding the sign thanking her. On her desk sat the American flag patch from Commander Hartman and her mother's research notes in their protective folder. This was her life. Small apartment in Oakland, best friend who needed math help, science club at the library, dreams of space, a grandmother who loved her unconditionally, a mother's legacy living on through her work. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't what the world expected from Zara Chen, the girl who saved astronauts. But it was real. It was hers, and it was exactly enough. She thought about the question Professor Chen had asked. "Have you thought about your future?" Yes, she'd thought about it. Her future wasn't about early admission to MIT or rushing through life to get to the important part. Her future was about being present in each moment, learning, growing, helping others, staying curious, being brave, being kind, being herself. That was the real lesson from everything that had happened. Not that she was special or chosen or different, but that she was enough, exactly as she was. And that being enough didn't mean stopping or settling. It meant having the freedom to grow at her own pace, in her own way, toward her own dreams. Zara looked out her window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the International Space Station was orbiting Earth, her mother's life support systems keeping astronauts safe. The fuel lines she'd helped protect working perfectly, humanity reaching for the stars, one careful calculation at a time. Someday Zara would be part of that directly, designing systems, solving problems, pushing boundaries. But not today. Today she was 13. Today she had a spring dance to plan for, and friends who needed homework help, and a science club to run, and a life to live. And that was perfect, more than perfect. It was everything. 5 years later, at age 18, Zara Chen stood in mission control at SpaceX wearing an official engineer badge. Not a visitor badge, not a consultant badge, a real badge that said Junior Engineer, Life Support Systems. Around her, dozens of engineers monitored screens showing the first crewed mission to Mars. 7 astronauts traveling farther than humans had ever gone. A 2-year journey to touch another world. All systems nominal, someone reported. Zara checked her station, the life support systems she'd helped design over the past 2 years, building on her mother's original research. Everything was green. Everything was working. Standing next to her was Dr. Okonkwo, now SpaceX's Chief Technology Officer. On her other side, Jamie Torres, who'd become like a big sister over the years. In the observation deck above, Nana May watched with pride. Beside her sat Keisha, visiting from UCLA where she was studying computer science. Dr. Webb was there too, retired now but still following every mission, and Commander Lisa Hartman, training the next generation of astronauts. The Mars spacecraft's engines fired for the departure burn. Slowly, gracefully, it pulled away from Earth orbit and headed toward the red planet. Mars departure burn complete, the flight director announced. All systems green. The crew is healthy. Mission is go. Mission control erupted in cheers. Zara found herself crying. Happy tears. This mission carried her mother's legacy, her own work, years of collaboration and learning and growth. After things calmed down, Elon Musk, who'd been watching from the back, approached Zara. "Your mother would be proud," he said simply. "I know," Zara replied, smiling through her tears. "I think she's been proud all along." That evening, back in her apartment, bigger than the old one, but still in Oakland because this was home, Zara sat with her old worn notebook, the one she'd used to calculate the fuel line problem 5 years ago. She turned to the last page and wrote one final entry. "Dear Mama, today we launched humans to Mars. I'm 18 now, working as a junior engineer at SpaceX. I'm starting at MIT in the fall, on my own timeline, when I was ready, not when the world told me I should be. I've learned so much in 5 years. About engineering, yes, but more about life, about staying true to yourself, about the difference between fame and purpose, about how the smallest acts of kindness, helping a 6th grader with physics, running a science club, sharing what you know, can ripple out in ways you never imagine. Emma, Commander Hartman's daughter, just got accepted to the Air Force Academy. She wants to be an astronaut. Tyler Jackson is studying robotics engineering at Georgia Tech. That girl from the library, Emma Chen, we share a last name by coincidence, is heading to Caltech. And I get letters every week from kids who say I inspired them to pursue STEM. That's what matters, Mama. Not the awards or the recognition or the fame that faded after a few months, but the legacy of curiosity and courage we created together. You starting it, me continuing it, and now passing it on to the next generation. I'm not the same scared 12-year-old who walked into SpaceX 5 years ago, but I'm also exactly the same. Still curious, still asking questions, still believing that kindness matters more than genius, still trying to use my gifts to help others. Thank you for the research notes you left behind. Thank you for showing me what it means to dedicate your life to keeping people safe. Thank you for the letters you wrote before I was born, telling me that my worth came from my heart, not my brain. I carry you with me in the work I do, in the person I'm becoming, in the way I try to lift others up instead of climbing alone. You asked me once, in a letter, to use science to make the world better, to protect people, to ask questions others are afraid to ask. I'm doing that, Mama. I'm doing exactly that. And I'll keep doing it, one calculation at a time, one kind act at a time, one curious question at a time. Because that's what it means to carry your legacy. Not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, but to keep trying, keep caring, keep asking what if, and how, and why not. I love you, across time and space, across the boundary between life and death, across everything, your daughter Zara. She closed the notebook and placed it on her shelf, next to her mother's research notes, next to the photograph from the ISS, next to all the letters from kids she'd inspired. Tomorrow she'd go to work. She'd check systems. She'd run simulations. She'd collaborate with engineers who had decades more experience. She'd keep learning, keep growing, keep reaching for the stars. But tonight she was just Zara, 18 years old, standing in her small apartment in Oakland, looking up at the night sky where somewhere a spacecraft carried humans toward Mars. She'd come so far from that scared 12-year-old with a crumpled letter. And yet, in the ways that mattered most, she was exactly the same. Still curious, still brave, still kind, still herself. And that was everything. And that's how Zara Chen's story came full circle. From a scared 12-year-old with a crumpled letter to an 18-year-old engineer helping send humans to Mars. From feeling like she wasn't enough to realizing she was exactly enough. From one small act of courage to a lifetime of making a difference. Her mother's legacy lived on, not just in the spacecraft systems that kept astronauts safe, but in every kid who watched Zara's story and thought, maybe I can do that too. Because that's what this story is really about. It's not about being a genius. It's not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to speak up when you see something wrong, about working hard for things you love, about using your gifts to help others, about staying kind even when the world gets loud. Zara proved that one person can make a difference. That age doesn't matter. That where you come from doesn't matter. What matters is courage, curiosity, and caring about people. So let me ask you something. Where are you listening from right now? Are you in your room? At school? On a bus? Wherever you are, drop a comment and tell me your city or country. I love knowing that this story is reaching people all around the world. And if Zara's story inspired you, if it made you believe that you can do hard things too, please hit that like button. It helps spread this message of kindness and courage to more people who need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every time you subscribe, you're helping us share more stories about real people doing extraordinary things through simple acts of bravery. And here's the best part. Remember at the beginning when I told you about Elon Musk finding his high school love, Sarah, cleaning floors at Twitter? About the secret she kept for 25 years? About what Elon did that shocked everyone? That story is connected to Zara's in a way you won't believe. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now to find out how a 12-year-old's courage changed not just 4 astronauts' lives, but also reunited 2 people who thought they'd lost each other forever. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay brave, stay kind, and remember, you're never too young, too old, or too ordinary to change the world. See you in the next video.